The long handball. Baker close to the boundary. Tumbles up the line. Pearce and Oscar Allen will be a good battle. Now Chapman's in there. Pressure good from both sides to begin Derby 60.
Both teams just overusing a little bit at the moment with hands, getting themselves into trouble. It's probably something for a bit later on when the game settles a little bit.
Yeah, both teams are out, 1-on-1 inside 50.
Josh Tracy going to be a huge story. See if he can continue in the game. Banfield was good to deliver the handball and release it to Jackson, who drives the ball inside 50. Amos there. Jimmy up to knock it down. Bolton arriving on the scene. Feeds a handball back. Really in support. Jimmy trying to muscle his way through. Kelly lost it. Bolton a step in the traffic. Couldn't find Frederick. Long was important. Kelly back to Long. Out of defence. To half back. Boundary line. Long in fact a little hold. So the free kick will go to the Eagle.
So West Coast had a word. There's a little hold down. Chapman on that occasion just hanging on. West Coast had an extra number behind the play at that point in time as Fremantle sent a player up around the ball. So something to watch. We talked about Josh Tracy not being out there. He is certainly that leader of the forward line.
Cripps, most experienced Eagle in derbies, out there, goes up the line. Mike Jackson over, and we'll get the boundary throw in. Will Schofield's on the boundary.
Yeah, Josh Tracy, update boys, there was a poke in the eye, sort of checked his cheekbone and his nose, but I think it was a poke in the eye. He's good to go. You can see him down there on the bench.
Is a high five gone wrong?
Surely not.
That 12th man area.
Surely not.
If you can't execute the high five, you've got to put that celebration away as the ball's on the wing. Reed's after it. Sarong on the boot, tumbling it through the middle of the ground, and Hoff takes a good mark.
Yeah, that's a good mark. He's got the big job on Bolton. We're going to keep a close eye on that one.
Clearance is already a bit of a worry for West Coast. It's threat to zip at the moment, losing field position, something you don't want to do early on.
Jewel was excellent last week. Such unlucky not to get a Rising Star nomination, and down the ground free here. Shaping up Voss and Jewel, but it'll be a free kick right near the 50.
That's just silly from Voss. No need for it. High kick, and now Bailey Williams has a shot at goal to get some confidence on a big task today. He's obviously got Luke Jackson in the ruck.
Decision this kick, whether you can make the distance or he hits the goal line, it's or a pull kick. Looks like he's going for goal.
Players running around for a handball around the back. Only Williams left out of the side in round one. Got his chance last week against the Lions. That one hooking all the way. It stays in play, not straight down the throat of Brockman, who snaps it back and there heads for a goal. Terrific scramble on the goal line, knocked back into play, and the Eagles answer back.
Well, it's last line of defence is probably a disappointing score back into the corridor. Come from a down the field free kick, which really difficult to defend when you give those type of free kicks away. Could have been a stoppage.
Yeah, Sharp, he just goes boundary side instead of corridor. Crucial error. Didn't get it through on the line, and then wasn't able to stop it as well when they hit the ground.
Josh Tracy, see top of the goal square in there. Just a little overzealous on the high five.
Been overzealous a couple of times. Boss, one with the high five and two with the downfield, which ended up creating the goal.
Really important for Brockman to start well like that. Struggled to get on the scoreboard the last 12 months. Great for his confidence.
Bolton into the midfield.
Terrific start to Derby 60 with a goal each way. Williams rising high in the middle. Jackson can be that extra midfielder. Out to Bolton. As you mentioned, and now Sarong, who can look inside 50, asks the question on the delivery, but it's chopped off by Cole.
Well read from Tom Cole. Very good defender. Frederick didn't actually attack the ball as he should have, but brilliant defence.
McGovern. And with the clearance domination early and the inside 50s, the territory going their way, but it's a goal apiece. Jackson and Williams there. Jimmy will throw it on the boot, and he just lofts it out of bounds on the foot.
He might have been out of bounds before he kicked it. Umpires hot on that one right there. This is the clearance battle you talk about, Simo. It's been advantage Fremantle to begin with. There's Josh Tracy just warming up. But what are you seeing from a coaching perspective?
Well, this is something they've been working on all week, no doubt, with one of Fremantle's real strengths. So they're pairing off. Looks like there's no spares. If Fremantle do get a spare, they'll use it. So equalise the stoppage.
It looks like Johnson's trying to go to Reed as well.
Williams putting their head out down. Jimby across to knock it to Hoff and back Out of play.
And what Liam Baker's trying to do, he's trying to block for 8, so there's lots of little 2-on-1s and a bit of chaos in there at
Be
the moment.
careful when you do that, you're blocking, which is great to give each other space, but then you leave Fremantle players spare as well. So the hit-outs are critical when it comes down to these plays.
Reed watching on at this stoppage. Jackson knocked it down. Jimby's been busy early. They peeled away from him, in fact, as he goes on the line. Draper missed it, spills through. Allen, and the boundary wins out.
The other thing we talked about, Luke Jackson and Bailey Williams. Jackson was very good last week against Grundy around the ground, but in these sort of throw-ins and ball-ups, what Brody Grundy did, bigger player, bigger ruck, when he actually got on top. So it is crucial, those hit-outs in this scenario, to get it down to your midfielders.
First derby for Andrew McCoulter as coach. On the line for Justin Longmuir, looking for his first win of a season with high expectations. High ball, Clark takes a nice mark.
Yeah, Draper did a nice job of locking down Liam Ryan, not allowing him to jump. He was so good last week against the Lions. His skill level is such at a high level. He actually brought so many of his teammates into the game.
Clark will send it long.
McGovern's back, Cole's back. They've done well to get that extra number, so he's going to have to look off the line or find someone creative.
Boss is going to go long into the pocket. Banfield's there. Edwards didn't mark it. Jinby to McGovern. Time. Try to find a target. It goes all the way out to Williams.
Jimby started the game well. He's been one of the key features down back for West Coast.
Chipping the ball through for Baker.
He actually might have the job on Jai Amos tonight.
And the kick goes very wide for Jaden Hunt. Out of bounds on the full. Crowd making some noise in this first quarter.
And they're set up pretty well, Fremantle behind the ball, so they're making West Coast try to kick the ball in around.
Ball will just tumble its way.
And they're forcing them long down the line, so they haven't.
Deliberate call. It's division intended wins.
Well, if that's the standard they set for the rest of the day, then we're all good, but that needs to be the standard now.
Baker. Chip it in to Duggan. Drive the ball to half forward, push and shove. Allen was trying to read it off hands. Draper's in there, Williams fed it forward. Ryan, an important touch into the path of Cripps, paddling towards the boundary but running out of space.
Both sides are getting forced down the line at the moment. It's a bit of an arm wrestle, which is what you expect. You know, as the game goes on, a bit more fatigue kicks in, you can find different angles and perhaps go around.
He's been on the bench a long time. Josh Tracy's pacing and stalking down there, isn't he? He just wants to get back out there, but because it's been long down the line and on the outer side, he hasn't been able to get back on.
Jackson in the ruck. Kelly got his boots to it. Cleverly done. Finds Owies. Thinking a little bit of hope, but it found the chest of Matt Owies.
He's been better, Tim Kelly. Had a stinker. He can't call it anything else in round 1 against Gold Coast, but was back to his best last week against the Lions, and he started this match well also. He's had the 4 disposals already and sets his shot at goal up.
Former Blue traded in the off-season, finding his feet at his new club. Playing in his first derby, and he sends it straight through and gives West Coast the lead in Derby 60.
Well, in the last 5 minutes, West Coast have got on top around the ball. Realistically, the general play hormone has been pretty stagnant, but the stoppage battle is going to be really important today. That was a 450 stoppage, quick surge kick, and you get some luck out of those plays, but you've got to get it in there. So to get that initial stoppage from pretty good defence, and the stoppages take over.
Did well, didn't he, Tim Kelly? Fought the tackle.
Feels like West Coast are enjoying the congestion. So there's lots of numbers around the ball at the moment, whether it's general play or stoppages. Hasn't opened up at all at the moment, which I think is in West Coast's favour. They want to keep the game pretty tight.
Yeah, they're high-pressure games, the derbies, aren't they? Always a little bit more pressure, not only just by the eye, but stats-wise, it's often some of the highest-rated games in the AFL. So, yeah, you're right, it probably does suit West Coast.
Tracy back out there with Edwards for company. Jackson in the middle, competes against Archer Reed. Brayshaw had it an awfully long time, but allowed to get the handball out. Jackson to Erasmus. High ball. Dudley was there the first game up for Fremantle, sandwich between a couple. Murphy Reed. Dudley pinches it out the back. Scrubs a kick up towards Tracy, who's seeing it okay to on the gutter. Give it away to Johnson, who fires a goal. We got a hot start to this derby.
Well, I've talked about Isaiah Dudley being one of the best natural footballers that came through the programs before he got drafted. It's taken him a little while to find his way onto an AFL list. Of course, he was one of the supplementary signings for the Dockers, but let's have a look at just his natural play. He stays active here and reads where it's going. Firstly, he locks down Cole from marking it. Then he's the first to pounce. And have a look at this gather from Josh Tracy. That's elite. So centre square bounce dominance from the Dockers. Jackson there to help. Elite ball use, or at least clean pick-up from Tracy, and then a nice finish from Johnson.
Zach Dudley in his first game, the nephew of Eddie Betts, who's watching on with interest to see how the first game goes and had an impact there. Ball back in the middle. Graham trying to use his strength. The two former Tigers, he and Baker trying to combine. Reed trying to get into it. Brayshaw overran it. Reed crashed through it. Driscoll popped him high and gave away the free. 7 of those he gave away last week against Brisbane. So Driscoll switches it up. Sharp, it was a tough one to take, sliding in. And Ryan was more than willing and ready to accept and snap the clever goal. West Coast making the most of their opportunities.
Great forward half pressure kick with the attack on the ball, but just a bit of a skill error here, a bit of a fumble, and you can't fumble in today's game. Great finish by Glenn. He's had a really good start in the year after last week.
It's more efficient at this point in time. 3 inside 50s at this point in time for 3 goals. Then Ryan celebrates that one. And they've just capitalised on some fumbles and some poor errors from Fremantle. He did play very well last week against Brisbane. We just highlighted that. Meters gained right up there, 3 goals, and had plenty of involvements.
High quality start to this one. Archer Reed in the middle. West Coast have come to play, up for the fight. Fremantle under the pump. Brayshaw lost it. Baker got it to Reed. This is where he loves to burst. The delivery over the head of Jack Williams. Ryan nudged him out of the way. Now Pearce dribbles the kick. Erasmus had to be clean and was. Out now to Draper. Fremantle look long up the wing. Frederick best position. Edwards impacted. Frederick recovered quickly. Now wants to use his speed. And as he fires it inside 50, McGovern down low. Marek back there. Got a shot from Murphy Reid who affected the kick. Now they're desperate in defence. Tripps getting back to help. At the support of Marek, boundary line there, but they didn't get it out. Brayshaw feeds it back in, and now it's Murphy Reid who hits the post.
That's great forward pressure from both teams. So Driscoll just willed himself to that contest. He was out of it and just made it his duty to go and turn the ball over and give the Dockers a chance of goal.
Both teams look sharp, don't they? Yep, like they're up and about. Pretty young sides from the weekend. I think the 16th and 17th younger sides over the course of this round, and they look like they're standing up on the big stage.
Bit of a surprise, I think, for some people, knowing that Fremantle are actually younger out there today than
Yes,
West Coast.
just a little bit. We don't have to overdo that one, but you're right. We're busy highlighting it, Adam.
And the derby's going on in the commentary box as well. That's what you would expect of the local rivalry, as Long wobbles one towards the 50. Ryan is able to knock it down. Pearce crashed over the top. Brockman was good. Oscar Allen tried to clear it. Archer Reid caught one high. The intensity of the game, a few just of those little errors, those free kicks being given away.
They've gone pretty tall today. Yep, with Jack Williams and Archer Reid, along with Oscar Allen and Bailey Williams. It's one more tall than they normally have. So Sydney did this last week to some success, so I'm assuming they've done the same thing.
Archer Reid, tallest player on the Eagles list, was given the opportunity to start this season after a really strong pre-season to build into it. Searching for his first goal in the AFL. Lets it fly from long range. It falls short. Oh, he's trying to keep it alive. It's still in play for the Eagles. Back, Graham on the boot. Fires and misses. Hits the post.
Let's go any matchups down back at both ends that you're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, the captains are on each other in Pearce and Allen, so that's a great matchup. Jeremy McGovern's trying to play in front at the other end, and Liam Ryan with that goal. He's as fit as he's ever been, Liam Ryan, and you can see by the way he's covering the ground, so that's what I'm watching at the moment.
And a half back through Draper. Graham just settling down after a frenetic start. Still warm conditions in the West. Been a very hot week. As the kick goes out wide, Clark with nudge of the body there to out-manoeuvre Jaden Hunt.
So even numbers ahead of the play. It's a slow play, so they're trying to get a little one in between. West Coast really strong through the corridor.
Long high ball from Clark goes in. Edwards tailor-made for it. Didn't mark though and didn't clear it out of the area. Banfield away. Amos wants the left boot back into Banfield from the pocket. He squares it up. Just missed Tracy and O'Driscoll, but the mark was dropped back there by Cripps, who's working end to end. His clearing kick intercepted by Chapman, who couldn't hang on, but he can send it back inside 50. High ball into the hot spot. Big pack up. Archer Reid back there. Jimby. Now Jaden Hunt. Running a fair distance out of defence. Pumping it long to one-on-one. Draper spoiled it, but didn't clear it away from Ryan, who again can gather. Clark's quick. Ryan trying to give him the hot shoe shuffle as it's away now to Brockman. He was diving for the boundary, couldn't find it. Brayshaw streaming for the free and is rewarded.
That's great pressure because Liam Ryan was out. Jordan Clark firstly just got a fingernail on. He looked like he was going to be setting that one side inside 50, and then the cavalry arrived. Andy Brayshaw, desperation.
Strategically, Freo aren't looking to switch at all at the moment. They're happy to take this long down the line play, whether it's good defence from West Coast or that's part of the plan today.
Was well weighted, but couldn't hang on and seen out of play.
If you're coaching against that, then you can actually support that down the line a little bit more with some drop-off plays. You get McGovern up the ground, get him in the hole. If they continue to go down the line like that, they should get some outnumber with those plays.
Becomes quite predictable is what you're saying. You start to read it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lost in the ruck opposed to Archer Reid. Goes back in down low again. Gains a couple of metres with a handball. Jaden Hunt in there. Murphy Reid hassled him out of it. Freo just with the extra number. Sarong can feed it back to Clark, who sends it into a dangerous area. Banfield wrestling, got in a tangle. Amos and Jinby lock up. Dudley went without it. Marriott has good foot skills, went short into Owie. Now the Eagles can try to move things. Dangerous handball from Cole through the corridor. Set up Graham, and we'll get a ball up.
First ball used from Marriott coming out of half back, but then they just sold themselves into a bit of pressure. And talk about this game being so hot. Even Caleb Sarong and some of the elite players on both sides are fumbling.
Great hands there from Long to Graham to Kelly. They can get out and run here. Open forward line. Owies trying to pick the right option. He went with the wrong one. Couldn't find Allen. Corner. Late inclusion. He can't find a handle on the footy, but he controlled it well to the boundary.
They got fumbled across the line, but even he just was a bit fumbly. There's just a lot of pressure out there at the moment.
Pretty good decisions too, though, when they do get the ball. West Coast could have bombed that. They used the extra number for overlap. Didn't come off. Wasn't far off, was it?
Both sides searching for their first win of the season. Loss in the ruck. And leading up is Tracy.
You can't underestimate that kick just to relieve a little bit of pressure, take the sting out of what is a very hot area in your D50.
To poke in the eye. Celebration gone wrong early. It was touched off the boot. It was knocked away from Amos. Sarong dispossessed. Baker's in there. Trying to keep it moving. Tracy, lovely sidestep, just slaloming his way through. Plenty of players. Then with a handball, they can work the numbers here, Fremantle. Over the top to Bolton. Space ahead of him with speed from 50. Sends it long. Dudley! The first game. The nephew of Eddie Betts, the family in the stands. Brought in for his first game. He kicks his first goal. Isaiah Dudley, all his teammates get around to him, and what a moment it is. Picked up in the pre-season, he was presented with his jumper before the game. Andrew Sturgis, the development coach, doing the handover and presenting the jumper on debut. Mum Charisma down there, his Nan Ann, the brothers as well, all in there. And their first goal as well. And this actually happened at Mallee Park, the family club, where Eddie Betts played alongside Isaiah Dudley in Port Lincoln. They won the footy carnival late last year. How good is that? And there's the family watching on.
I'm sure they've made the trip over. Have a look at the emotion on the faces. This is just brilliant scenes. It's awesome to see, isn't it? I tell you, Mallee Park, that has produced some absolute guns over the years.
Nephew and uncle in the same team. And
perhaps another one now.
168 centimetres. That's
Isn't it
not
great
big,
for
is
the,
it?
it's great for the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
highlights all shapes and sizes.
Almost ended up at Carlton, but Fremantle invited him across to train, and it's been a short turnaround. An important goal, though, for Fremantle. Scores level in this first quarter. Cole trying to get it out, threw it away. So Fremantle take it. 6 minutes to go in this first term.
A slow entry again, so off 50 as well. Jeez,
So this is going to be a big price to pay. What was it for in the end of 50?
The umpire sounded as though he was asking the West Coast players on the periphery to clear the protected area.
We will get another. It was sorry to jump in, Pav. Noah Long just probably too lazy on his opponent and just drifted through next to Brayshaw as a clear 50. That gets paid every day.
So explanation plays well within
outside the protected area to run through it. They'll still mid-zone, Jeff.
10 metres inside the protected area. It moves Fremantle to within goal scoring range, and Brayshaw cannot make the most of it. Big let off.
It's a big let off. I mean, they've had field position. Fremantle doubled the inside 50s, probably haven't converted as much on the scoreboard. Those 50-metre penalties, they're very frustrating. Very frustrating.
It's
Hasn't left yet. It's still
Well, when the game's tight like this, every moment counts.
Long ball out to halfback. Williams is there for West Coast. As it spills away, Banfield and Kelly wrestle. Only Reid, toe poke once, twice. Johnson's there too. Ryan able to gather. Sarong's had a heap of it first quarter. Loves playing in the derby. McGovern just had the reach and out position Bolton. Now they want to switch. It's a little dangerous though. Dewar, clean pick up. Sharp, a good tackle. Socket away by Cole. And Brockman in support. Clark there harassing him out of it. Now Cole again. Not getting it cleanly up the field, just opening the door for Fremantle. Warner off the left boot. Erasmus towards the 50. Away to Dudley. Already got one. Isaiah Dudley is deadly! What a start to his career. 2 goals in the first term.
Well, you can see his natural ability on show, and they've wanted this finisher for a little while. Shea Bolton into the team as well, but that is just elite finishing. Great pressure here on the outer side. So Warner comes forward to defend the ball, and then he actually turns inside, swivels his head, finds the extra numbers, and it's a great finish.
Great finish, and you can sort of see what West Coast were trying to do with that intercept mark and the switch kick. Looking at Ryan earlier on in the quarter when the fumbles were coming into play, but the game settled a little bit, and
Almost a mirror image, wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah.
You know, the kick was just a little bit off from McGovern and finished off some great work.
Fremantle just extend their lead in this first quarter as it spills through. Sarong after it. Dewar. His kick smothered. Dockers just getting on top, you feel, in this quarter. Johnson took the contact, got the handball over the top. Brayshaw wants a target. Drills it in. Bolton read it quickly as Hoff for company. McGovern now to Hoff, who was ill earlier in the week, but he's taking his place in the side. Goes up to halfback. Chapman. Clean hands. Now he wants to switch. A dangerous one across. Sharp holds onto it this time.
Geez, they're risky plays, but it has that much hang time. We saw just the example of it before. O'Driscoll, that was turned over. Lamb Ryan had a shot. McGovern, on that occasion, Dudley gets the goal. It's high risk but high reward on this occasion.
Looks like both teams are trying to go really quick off a turnover, but if it's held up, they're happy to go long down the line.
Well, Wingman on the run would probably kick this distance easily.
Well, the breeze is actually against him. It is going to ride a screen West Coast with that, but it's always a bit swirly here.
Gone back with confidence. Teammates not exactly leading for the footy. They think he's got the range in him, and he loved it off the boot to start with, but that breeze just grabbed it, ripped it away.
It's a really strong northeasterly here in Perth, perhaps, which is a bit unusual for this time of year, but it is blowing really hard to the right of screen. So in favour of West Coast at the moment. I'm not sure what Scully thinks down there in terms of, is it a couple of goal breeze or will it die down a bit?
Yeah, Pat, it's actually raining. You wouldn't believe it. We're just having drops of rain down here. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is raining right now.
I don't believe you.
Sure that's not someone in the crowd throwing something over your head, Scully, because
It is not the 9-minute mark, and it is raining.
On the line!
It's been 37, 38 degrees in town all week. You can see a little bit of that rain falling down. Unusual stuff in the bright sunshine as Jeremy McGovern shields his eyes from it. Bolton down low. He's got Banfield waiting. Didn't pull the trigger. Goes instead for Voss. A vice-like grip on the Sheeran.
Great kick, wasn't it? Great kick from Bailey Banfield. Just weighted it to Voss's advantage, I think. Players in those situations are almost afforded a bit of a free hit, but it was a smart play.
He's got strong hands. I mean, they've dominated the last 10 minutes. Pressure's gone through the roof. 2-15, 9 of the last 10 inside 50s. Just haven't finished off their work.
Had some tough moments in the last quarter against Sydney last week. Pat Voss wanting to work on his finishing. That one's always very near side.
Something with Voss's improvement areas, perhaps, is his finishing.
Yeah, I mean, he actually played quite well last week, finishing 1-3, one out in the full. That big turnover late in the game as well, which was costly, but he presents well. He pressures really well, just needs to finish his work off, and so do Freo right now.
I feel like the Dockers have control of it in the last 10 minutes, as Simo mentioned. Harley Reid trying to take a big leap on the wing. Hacked away there by Jaden Hunt, and insufficient intent to call.
Oh, Simo, you called for it.
That's consistent. Yeah, consistently bad, but it's consistent.
Oh, now it's out of bounds.
And now O'Driscoll's played on and been out of bounds, so we get a boundary throw in. So we got the result in the end.
Oh, there you go. I tell you, the box right now, there's 2 minutes 30 to go. I think it's been a pretty good start by Fremantle, obviously, but West Coast can hold on here. The deficit's not too bad, so what can they do just to shut out this quarter is what they're talking about now.
And Mark Jackson down to O'Driscoll. Hit the first one of the game. Sarong, hassled by Graham. O'Driscoll was good down low and bursting from stoppage. Couldn't hit the kick. And Lark intercepted by McGovern.
Try and control the ball now. A few uncontested possessions. Get some field position. Keep it pretty skinny if they can. Stoppage is your worst result.
Eric, cross half back, a new role for him this season. Use the ball well. It's Edwards. He's going to kick a wobbly old flower bag up to half forward, but it worked. Kelly, pinpoint precision. Imperfectly off the boot. As the kick from Kelly goes into the pocket. Reid in a wrestle, and a holding free kick will go Fremantle's way. It was Ryan and Reid, and the Docker gets the free.
He's a hard man to beat in that situation, Luke Ryan. He's really smart at the way he positions and bodies up. There was the hold of the jumper from Reid.
2 frees against Harley Reid this term. He equalled the club record with 7 against last week. Driscoll's been busy. Feeds it through to Frederick. He fancies his chances to get around Bailey Williams. And now through the middle of the ground. Just over a minute to play. Banfield's been important. High ball, and they finally get an open opportunity for Amos inside 50.
Fast feet, Freddie. How about the work just here at half back? Elite agility to get out of a pretty tight situation. O'Driscoll broke the tackle firstly, took the tackle on, and have a look at this, just twinkle toes Frederick, and from there they were out. It's a really smart ball used from Bailey Banfield to set up his key forward.
Playing his 50th game today, Jai Amos, pick 8 back in 2021, leading goal kicker in 2023. Hasn't had all the opportunities he's wanted through the first few games. When he gets them, he makes the most of them. The man they've nicknamed Nev.
Look, we'll see this play from full back. It's a full-length transition goal. And when you do that, you normally have to go through a contest. So this is forced down the line, which is what West Coast want. They cover off all exits. Teams train this. You train these down the line plays. Great ball from McGovern. Just goes past the box out area, and then there's some really good shape to the corridor, and you definitely train these types of plays where can you get from that skinny side to the corridor overlap to the deep entry, and you get them out the back. So they'll show that one on Monday.
And it does help, doesn't it? Just standing up in a tackle and actually using legs to drive out. Gets the ball back into the corridor, as you said, from inside to outside, and get a bit of width in the game.
So just 21 years of age, Jai Amos. Young key forward in the competition. West Coast answer back. In the dying seconds of this opening term, it's been fast and frenetic and an enjoyable start to Derby 60. Baker, Dewar running themselves into trouble. Baker tried to get it on the boot, but now Fremantle break with numbers, and Bolton will delay it through to the fast feet of Frederick, but he couldn't get clear. Handball backwards for Brayshaw. Graham tackled him without it. No whistle. Bit of tunnel ball from Graham. Dewar. The Eagles, after almost coughing it up, they might Optus hold on as the siren will sound as Voss was trying to gather. And that will do it for the opening term. You cannot ask for a much better start to a game of footy. Goals aplenty. A lot in it as both sides search for their first win of 2025. The Dockers with the advantage, up by 15 at the first change.
All right, folks, there we go. It is football time again here, of course, playing at Optus Stadium, and it's the derby over there in Perth. The West Coast Eagles taking on the mighty Fremantle Dockers. Are they looking more like Flagmantle? Well, we'll certainly see. Of course, Fremantle jumped out with the first goal. There we go. Nathan O'Driscoll kicking the first goal there for Freo. West Coast hitting back with the next two, and then, of course, Fremantle taking control in this fast-paced game. It's an absolute cracker. The weather looks absolutely magnificent over in Perth at Optus Stadium, so it looks really, really good. I just want to welcome in a few, of course. Who can I see there? I can see Adrian. How you doing? Addy G. Tine, the manager's in the house. R4T, he was here. And, of course, Albert, how you doing? In the world of sport, there are no certainties. Just take a look at the NRL scores this weekend. I saw Melbourne Storm get beat, unfortunately, but that's all right. That's just another game they need to get back. But I tell you what, it's a cracking game so far. This was a good game, interesting game coming into this one. West Coast have been in, well, some of their form's been patchy, but some's been good. And, of course, the Fremantle Dockers just unable to... they've been playing good, but unable to get the job done on a couple of occasions this season so far. Let's just have a quick look at the ins and outs for the Eagles, because we didn't have a look at this prior to the opening bounce. Of course, Jack Williams comes in for the West Coast Eagles, going out. Petruccelli and Clay Hall, the sub, Elijah Hewitt. Fremantle Dockers, James Aish comes in. Dudley comes in and Carl Warner comes in. Going out, Brandon Walker, Corey Wagner and Jager O'Meara. New is Isaiah Dudley. The sub is James Ash, and of course the milestones there for Fremantle. Jai Miss on his 50th game. Isaiah Dudley, his debut game, and of course Bailey Banfield on his 100th game today for the team. So let me just roll that down in case anyone wants to have a look at the team lineups. If you were unaware, there they are right there. All right, just before, we've only got a minute or two before the bounce of the ball for the second quarter. Let's have a quick look at the goal scorers. And, of course, Isaiah Dudley there, the only multiple goal scorer for Fremantle with 2 goals. Now, I'm pretty sure I heard them say he was a nephew, a son of one of the great players. I just can't remember now who they said, but someone in the chat will let me know. Oh, Addy G will probably let me know. He'll know. He knows all the Fremantle players there. Nathan O'Driscoll, Matty Johnson, and Jai Miss, all single goal scorers there for the Fremantle Dockers. Of course, for the West Coast, Liam Ryan, Matthew Owies, and Tyler Brockman are the single goal scorers there for the West Coast Eagles. Quick look at the disposal count. Caleb Sarong, he's going all right, isn't he? 12 possessions. He's bagged a haul already in the opening term. 7 kicks, 5 handballs. He's had a mark, 4 clearances going well. Nathan O'Driscoll, next best on 8 for the Dockers. Jeremy McGovern, best for the Eagles. Did I say Nathan O'Driscoll for the Eagles? For the Dockers, I meant. Anyway, Jeremy McGovern, top in the table for the Eagles on 8. Tim Kelly, next best on 7. Hopefully a big quarter from him. Andrew Brayshaw, nice to see him opening up with 7 disposals in the first term. Just slotting that behind, but he's already had 3 clearances, so that's good for him. Shai Bolton, he needs to get into the action. He started off well with 7 touches there, couple of kicks, 5 handballs, so that's good for the Dockers. They get him up and about. That'll be nice. It'll be good to actually see him, even maybe in up and around the ball, I think. He's pretty dangerous. All right, let's just roll down a little bit. We'll see who else we've got there. Bailey Williams there for West Coast, just the 4. Josh Tracy there for the Dockers, also just the 4. There we go. Michael Frederick, 3 for the Dockers. Let's continue to roll on down a little bit. Liam Ryan, just 2 for West Coast. but has snagged a goal. He needs to lift. He needs to get right into the game. And you know what? I didn't see Harley Reid. There's Harley Reid. There we go. Just the 2 touches, 2 kicks, 2 tackles. Wow, the $1 million man, so they say. He needs to get into the game. The big guns, they need to fire for West Coast. Can West Coast come back and, put it to the Fremantle Dockers in the second quarter? Or can the Fremantle Dockers continue on their merry way and have their way with the West Coast Eagles? There we go. It's the Dockers by 15 points. Let's head back down to the ground. They'll take us to the bounce of the ball for the second quarter.
Big stage. Let's head it up to commentators Adam Papalia, Matthew Pavlich and Adam Simpson.
Thank you very much, Kath. Yes, it is a great start to this derby, and we've got the great innovation here on Fox Footy as well, with Adam Simpson with us and Matthew Pavlich, to go into the coaches' box, gentlemen, to have a look at some of the really key stats in the game so far.
Yeah, when you look at this, I mean, there's green everywhere for Fremantle. We spoke about clearance has been really important. The last 2 weeks have been poor, so they're in front there, but the biggest change in that quarter was the pressure. Yep. And, you know, West Coast brought it. They were above 2 there for a good half a quarter. They dropped down to 1.5, and Freo have done the opposite. They've started mid-range and just taken it way over 2 in the last 5 to 10 minutes, and that's created turnovers.
Yeah, it certainly has. So the clearance, what that does, it gives you field position, and that elevates your pressure factor. And what it means is they've been able to score from turnover. Get it in your front half, keep it there, put pressure on, and then get the ball back off the opposition. Let's have a look at the last 15 seconds here. Just elite pressure. Caleb Sarong is the one at the moment getting loose. He's already had the 12 disposals, but it's this type of pressure, Simon, from both teams.
It is.
It's been important.
It is, and, you know, the old Richmond boys, they did love to handball their way out of trouble back in the day. They just get it forward no matter what. You see a little bit of that in the style. If you get tipped over, though, you get caught the other way. Yeah. So it'll take a bit of time to get used to that frenetic type of handball game, and they're working through it.
And to be fair, both teams have actually turned the ball over in that way. Fremantle, particularly across the first 2 weeks, have been tipped over, to use your parlance, and actually get scored against. But they've been a little bit more efficient with that ball use today. Obviously only a quarter.
How's this score going?
Yeah, 12. Would you put someone doing now?
I think they might have done it. I've been trying to do it for 6 years, and it's hard to stop. It worked really well last week, but, you know, Harley could lift a little bit. Baker's done his job. Sarong's off the chain at the moment.
It's won 3 Glendenning Allen medals already. Caleb Sarong, 12 disposals in the first term. We're underway. Derby 60, quarter 2. West Coast, Fremantle, and Bailey Williams almost took it out. Was lapped away by Sarong. Harley Reid's in there, and we will get a stoppage inside the centre square.
So always comes up. You can see there Jordan Clark right with him. Noah Long it is off the forward area for West Coast. There's a bit of chaos and numbers around there everywhere.
Baker's handball trying to release Dewar. It gathers nicely. Heaves the ball. It's too wide for Allen. In fact, too wide for anyone, as it's out of bounds on the full.
We saw this in the first quarter on slow play.
Yeah.
They didn't really switch the ball either team. They were happy to play straight line footy.
Not 15, as we've seen plenty through the first rounds. Put Brayshaw under the pump. Baker's there. Johnson went up high. Graham down low. Erasmus there. Bailey Williams on the boot. High ball in towards Allen. He had the mismatch, but Pearce was just sitting a couple of metres away, able to come over across and intercept.
And he was well protected. Perhaps you called it. Warner was the mismatch on Allen, but here it is again. You can see all the numbers. They're just playing straight line footy. It's predictable.
Hasn't had a disposal yet, Oscar Allen. As they try to find him inside 50. Good mark to Luke Jackson.
And the umpire
free kick.
Outside of the zone, saw that one.
It's good defence from West Coast. As much as we think it might be a straight line game, you've got to cover off the exits, and that little 15-metre kick that didn't get paid is the only time they've looked short.
Williams goes in. Ryan will want to fly. Brennan Cox, that's a towering mark in defence.
Beaten up, they have down back.
They are.
Up forward, West Coast at the moment.
You just think a little bit of change of angles, just a subtle change of angles, so you're not kicking to the likes of Cox and Pearce.
Well, they've gone tall, West Coast, so they're going to have to take these grabs for that plan to work.
Erasmus with the footy. Back pocket. Jager O'Meara late out today with illness for Fremantle. So needing another player to step up in and under. Jackson tackled well by Harley Reid, who wins the free. Jackson thought he was away. Reid trying to inject himself into the game. Get it back here from Edwards or Willie. It was a poor handball. Dudley knocked it on. Tracy, crucial turnover in such a crucial spot. And Amos marks inside 50.
Oh, he was almost off as well. He was almost off. Jai Amos, that's a crucial error. So the stat that quarter time about the turnover scores from turnover, largely it's been off pressure, not a huge amount from error, but on that occasion, that's a costly one. Dudley pounces, first give, and are out.
Sloppy play earlier, though, wasn't it? From Harry.
They kicked the one goal through the first 2 games of the season, Jai Amos. Hoping for more output from their young forward. Already got one today as he hooks that one away. Very close to the player on the mark and, in fact, sends it out of bounds on the full.
And they've had some golden opportunities. Fremantle, Andy Brayshaw in the first quarter, 20 metres out directly in front, miss. Jai Amos on that occasion. When you've got momentum, you certainly have to take it.
Another missed kick as they try to clear it out of defence. Erasmus to Sarong. And his body, bounce important, off trying to make amends. That's the support of Graham. Marrick, poor kick, but worked okay to Hoff. Now Graham, they chip their way up to the wing and find Cripps, and the run continues. Dewar now can continue to build. He's got Ryan on over the top. They chip their way to half forward. They're screaming for it to go in quickly. Ryan picks a good option and finds Archer Reid.
You want something done, give it to Liam Ryan. And he just knows how to find space, wait that right amount of time, let the forwards get organised, get a bit of separation, and haven't seen him kick on his left too often. It's probably one of the very few times he's done that. And
both sides were butchering it, wasn't it? So just get it into the good ball users' hands and they just make smart decisions.
Absolutely.
Archer Reid had an opportunity earlier on in the game to find his first goal in the AFL. Put behind heading into this one. And brother of Zach, who we've been seeing play for the Bombers this season. That one is tight. It's across the face, and the wait continues for his first major.
So, a bit of inside 50 work here for West Coast, but it was all Freo in that first term. They had 21 in that first quarter. It's a record so far for them this year.
Ryan's going straight up the middle, and it's Dudley who presented. Good outlet kick. Didn't release the handball on the run, but will go wide instead for O'Driscoll. Now Fremantle trying to go quickly. Missed it for Clark. Ryan quickly onto it. Twisting and turning and feeding it back to Duggan. It just lobbed in the air a little too long. Allowed Brayshaw to lay the tackle. Graham had it for a second. Brayshaw, Sarong into the pocket. Voss, good body work. Just nudged McGovern out of the way to take the easiest of chest marks.
Again, just highlights, if you get the ball in the right person's hands, you get a kick, a goal. I mean, Liam Ryan down the other end on that occasion was Caleb Sarong. Well-weighted kick. McGovern had made really smart position, assertive position. Let's have a look at this, though. On the left, that's just a great kick, and as you called, perhaps, nice body work from Voss, but this is his task, finishing the work off.
Arcing the footy. He's good at finding the opportunities inside 50. He's been good at finishing off the work. Is the wait and see. And that one goes across the face. So every miss, it just kind of builds that pressure that you put on yourself.
Certainly does. Been in that position before where you miss a couple early and then it starts to become an issue both for yourself and for the team.
Well, the team talking about too, with a few of those misses of gettable goals that they've had so far in the game.
Yeah, they're allowing West Coast to stay in this one, to hang around. It's only a couple of goal difference where it really should be 3 or 4 goals.
So Marrick kicks into the player, charging at him. Bolton, huge opportunity here. West Coast trying to press, and they cough it up. Baker out of defence now finds Reid. Another wasted opportunity there, almost off the turnover for the Dockers. Jaden Hunt, the long kick, more in hope than anything. Never advantage to Oscar Allen, and Alex Pearce can take the mark.
Again, highlights how there's not a huge amount on the open side, so they're just playing that straight line footy, get it to a contest and crumb.
The line they go. Bailey Williams over the top. Tracy fighting hard to keep it in play. Just when it looked like it was going out, the Dockers stayed active and are able to drill the kick long. McGovern, desperation. And knock it away from Amos.
It's interesting, when you do play this straight line football, your pressure goes up and there's more stoppages. So maybe that's a bit of a plan of the Fremantle side to play a bit more skinny, win a few contests, get some stoppages, get some dominance.
Jackson to the front. Good hit out straight down the throat of O'Driscoll. Tracy! Strong hands in the contest. The quick entry in. He was playing in front, and they get another opportunity.
It's a great pair of hands, but it's that stoppage dominance you talk about. Jackson, there was no one on this defensive side for West Coast. They're all pulled apart. Erasmus and O'Driscoll were there, and now this becomes a crucial shot, perhaps.
Had a few very gettable opportunities, Fremantle, to this point in the game. Josh Tracy be the man from this point right throughout his career. Hasn't missed from this range before this shot. His perfect record continues. Important finish for Fremantle after a number of misses.
Pretty simple, isn't it? This football. I mean, this stoppage here, if you look at the sweeping roll, O'Driscoll, they didn't start that way, West Coast. They started covering off pretty much man-on-man around the source because of the dominance of Jackson, and unfortunately, he didn't set up well enough for that particular stoppage, and they paid the price.
And the other one is just starting position. Harry Edwards and Tracy were actually the ones that were caught out of position, hustling to get back. And when you start poorly in terms of defensively, you can be caught out.
Spoken about it a little bit about this over the course of the last few weeks. If you go away from your strengths, sometimes you forget what they are. It looks like today Fremantle double down on what they're good at. You know, they're good at the contest, they're good at the clearances. Now they're getting some reward.
Is that a difficult thing to do when you've lost the first couple of games?
Absolutely. You've got to go back to your strengths.
Knock down Jackson, Brayshaw, Bolton up in the middle. Get the 1-2 with Jackson. Clearance work is one of their strengths, and Bolton will release now to Sarong, to Brayshaw. All the big names getting involved. Showed the footy a couple of times. Drives it in high and long again, but Marek intercepts this time.
It's well done to intercept because there was numbers out everywhere. The kick from Brayshaw, it's let him down a couple of times today, whether it's in front of goal or entries inside forward 50, but Marek there to save the day.
Inside 50 count really starting to rack up for the Dockers. As it goes wide for Duggan.
The other part about Fremantle last year, number one team at points against, and once they get it in, they do lock you in pretty well.
We haven't seen that. They've just been sliced and diced a couple of times, particularly the first week against the Cats.
Duggan's high ball, Jackson in the air. And he stepped forward to the mark, so he's called to play on. No one can hear the umpire saying that he needed to go. Williams could have laid the tackle if he'd known, and now Chapman will bang it in. Long ball, Tracy crunched it. Murphy Reid away, Erasmus off the left, hooking back, but too far behind. "27 inside 50s to 11. Big discrepancy. That number really only building as the Dockers dominate the forward territory.
Yeah, number 2 rated defensively all year last year, and the clearance game that you talked about at Simo. Number 1 clearance game, number 2 defensively. At the moment, they've got that on their terms.
Jackson in a good position again, but this time Draper. Young Fremantle defender.
This is a real problem now. Sorry, real problem for West Coast. They can't get it out. You know, you're conceding a point or a stoppage in their back half, and defenders get tired.
Repeat inside 50s. Pack was up. Cole, Dewar, went back into the traffic. Somehow found Kelly. Tumbling footy. Went past Jack Williams. Brendan Cox almost a high fend there, and then under the pump. Sends it the wrong direction. Graham was good. Allen had Cripps out, and he knew it. Sends it over his shoulder. Bouncing footy will be important. Clark is quick and closing the gap, looking to go past him. And the Dockers defender did well to recover.
Yeah, as well defended because they were out. Oscar Allen, very smart kick, hasn't had any impact. That's his first touch, largely because it's just lived in the Dockers forward half, as we've been highlighting. That's only their 12th inside 50, West Coast.
Sarong and Brayshaw going well at the clearances. Kelly almost that time. It will stay inside 50 for the Eagles.
The backs can take a breath now for West Coast. I mean, they're working their backsides off. This has been happening a lot the last few years. Obviously, I've been a part of what's been going on, and dealing with fatigue backman is really difficult halfway through the third quarter.
They scramble a goal here from limited opportunities. Jackson down. Anfield held up.
Yeah, just repeat stoppage work means that there is always a chance for a high free kick, a little bit of connection from the ruckman.
Jackson down. Brayshaw's there. Down low, Banfield. The pressure from Graham. Boundary line looms. Sarong, another disposal. High one out to half-back. Marek.
Been pretty good today. He's had a few moments to forget, but for the most part, for a young man coming into the defence for the first time this year, I think he's held up his own.
His kicking skills always good right from the outset, coming in off that mid-season draft. Thought he almost could have tried from range there, but he finds Cripps.
So that's the 11th kick that he's had out there, and he's going at 82%, so he's elite ball use out there.
It's part of the reason why he's gone back, I suspect, is to get some spring off that half-back line, although you don't want to get it on the goal line. You want to get it 40, 50 out from your back of goal, or ideally in the front half like just then.
Jeremy Cripps, the most experienced Eagle out there when it comes to derbies. Number 21, he has played throughout his career. They need some experience to step up, and Jeremy Cripps does just that with a vital goal for West Coast.
Critical goal. I mean, it's been living in Fremantle's forward half. From a coaching point of view, there's nothing more frustrating. They couldn't have done much more, Freo, and you're going to concede some inside 50s and opportunities, but get a couple of inside 50 stoppages. They set a little bit, few in-out-in plays, a forward half turnover from Marek, and he lowers his eyes, and Cripps, I can't remember how many times he's done that in his career where he kicks a goal from 45 out of the boundary.
Jamie Cripps closing in on 300 goals for West Coast. Adam Simpson, what has he meant to your sides over recent years?
Oh, he's a heart and soul player. He's a transition forward. He just runs up and down the corridor and defends for Liam Ryan and Willie Rioli and all those guys, Mark McCrae back in the day. So great to see it when he gets rewarded, because sometimes he doesn't. And his role on the side is more than just kicking goals.
He's been absolute star for a long period of time, and unrewarded stuff gets rewarded internally.
Keeps the side in touch. Brockman get the clearance away to Kelly. The Eagles will go inside 50 again. Ryan wanting to launch both Liam and Luke, and it spills away to Reid from 50 off a step. The power, the penetration on the kick, the bounce, critical. Allen trying to get there. Dockers recover, and they send it into the post.
Now scrambling back there. They did outnumber in the end, but
Little threatening, dangerous ball here, and Jaden Hunt intercepts.
The forward half turnover. Centre bounce clearances are critical. Tim Kelly likes to kick the ball when he's at his best, and with Baker and Graham and these types around who like to shape it a little bit more, just getting into someone's hand who gets it in deep. Opportunity to defend.
Kick to a 3-on-1 in the end. They were just getting set up. Let's have a bit more composure on that occasion.
Fremantle trying to go quickly out of their defensive half.
Up to a 3-on-1.
Warner with the turnover. It's Jaden Hunt now from 50. It's just hooking away.
Even up a little bit the inside 50 the last 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, they've actually even right up this second term. It's back on even pegging in this quarter, and right now in this second term there's a hit off the ball. Jack Graham on Matt Johnson.
50-metre penalty as well. And the players firing up after an incident off the ball on Caleb Sarong.
Started with Harley Reid, finished with someone else.
And they're going to take it quickly rather than taking the full 50 as now it's Dudley who stabs the pass in. Friedrich with a good trap down low, and again the sidestep. Round 1, 2, 3, then Brockman charged him down. The game just going up a couple of notches. A little bit off the ball, raising the temperature. Another free kick off the ball.
Yeah, bolt on that occasion against Brockman. So a few little spot fires, or it's going to be a derby.
It's actually taken a little while to arrive, Pat.
It's been pretty intense, but there's just a few niggles off the ball. I mean, Sarong, that might be the only way they can stop him at the moment. He's been pretty damaging.
16 disposals.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just the message going out. Jack Graham, right, lock down on him for us. He is standing next to him right now as this ball gets transitioned back.
Thought they might have started that way. There wasn't too many on the list who could have done it last year. He's a great inclusion because he can run both ways and he's got the discipline.
We'll go wide from McGovern. Fremantle dominating the early part of this term, but the Eagles have just had a little bit more territory in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's back on even terms.
Edwards across for Cole. Trapped in their back half now. In fact, there's something else happened off the ball with Draper and Jack Williams, which allowed Williams to get to the wing to make the outnumber. And now Graham's got the footy. He sends a high ball. Warner has to wait underneath it. Archer Reid try to impact. And it's away.
Yeah, Draper's still a bit sore, hunched over a little bit. Could have just been a big shove. But let's have a look at Will Scove and what have we found?
I actually think the run's gone out of Freo's game. It was there in the first quarter. Nathan O'Driscoll had a big quarter, but he's only had 2 or 3 touches this one. And across the ground, West Coast look like they're covering it better than Freo at the moment.
Thrown in. There's always going to be questions about West Coast being able to run the game out after playing in really humid conditions in Queensland last week. From the clearance here, Reid, the tackle lingered a bit, but he got it to Long. Away to Dewar. Back inside 50 they go. Pierce fell over. Ryan, an important spike away. And Liam Ryan sends it out of bounds on the full, trying to do the miraculous.
I'm glad I'm not in the coach's box.
What would you be saying?
You can't stop that, Simo. You can't stop that. Because if he kicks it, it's amazing.
And when the missing pieces for West Coast at the moment is probably Harley Reid just elevating his game, and Oscar Allen needs to get into the game somehow.
Chapman, long ball. Archer Reid hit the turf hard. Banfield was important to get it to O'Driscoll. High ball, stayed in the air a long time. Frederick did well. And if the mark's paid, they can't take the advantage, so they'll have to come back. It's a free kick, they could have kept going, but with the mark you have to retreat, which is why the boos are coming from the Freo fans, unhappy with it. Frederick will go in short. Finds Theron. Disposal 17 for the first half. He has dominated Derby clashes. On the middle 3 times. Looking to try and equal the record of 4 of Paul Hazelby, and he's made a great start to the game.
And they're definitely going a little bit more controlled this quarter.
Warner sends it in. They want to mark. Amos was crunched by a couple. Edwards on the boot. It's the dump kick out of defence. We'll come back in.
There's only 3 West Coast players outside of the defensive 50, so not only are they set up, but they can spread the ball. You can see on the outer side there, they've got a couple of free numbers. You think this will go skinny and they'll be able to set up behind their ball movement?
Clark just going to set it right into the hot spot. McGovern at the front. Off hands. Marrick did well to find Cole. Now Dewar. Banfield couldn't smother. High ball to the one-on-one. Important contest. Draper and Williams. Warner arrives at the feet to help. Away now to Johnson. The overlap from Clark. The Dockers trying to build through the corridor.
Yeah, so they're going wide because West Coast have got almost everyone down there defending, so they're just trying to change the angles.
That's Chapman. Can we go into the pocket? He wants Tracy. The early butt, the early nudge was legal, and he's paid the mark.
Well, Jeremy McGovern's complaining about the attention he received behind the contents of the contest with Tracy and Edwards. You can just see there, they got tangled up. There's the little shove and pushing the back, Simo.
Well, I don't know what it might have been. It's more the McGovern that it's a strategy against him to block him off the ball, absolutely.
Tracy already kicked one in this term. He thumps his foot right through the Sharon. 2 for the quarter. 2 critical goals for the Dockers. Extends their lead out again.
Good finish from Tracy, but this does happen a lot with players like McGovern, and there's probably 5 or 6 across the AFL where off the ball there's just some strategic planning done during the week about how to block his space, block his run. That's a free kick, let alone that one. But that happens.
Are they both doing it? Looks like they're both engaging.
Yeah, but McGovern's role would be to engage first and then to peel off and support.
I'm not sure. Both are wrestling there, both McGovern and Tracy. Amos. The push, though, that's the one I think that the umpires are looking for that double action, so that could have been the controversial one.
I suppose the point is that is planned during the week. When you're playing McGovern and these types of players, it's a good strategy, and when it works well.
Depends which lens you're looking through in a derby, I think, as to which way the free kick is going to be paid. Out of the middle. Erasmus hit it with pace. Now Johnson, what a step to get away from Brockman and then drive the Dockers up inside 50. Jimby will intercept.
That's well read. It's happened a couple of times. They've actually been...
Hoff with a mistake. And the pressure stays on. Fremantle have the extra number. Bolton try to go back through the legs. Important stop in there from Jaden Hunt. And now Hoff running up the wing. Again, the handball of feet just puts them under pressure. Baker made amends. Off to Jaden Hunt. on the boot. He wants Oscar Allen crunched into from behind. He back with courage, and now Pearce to Ryan. Allen's back on his feet. Brendan Cox, experience back there in defence for the Dockers, sees them to safety.
Yeah, Hunt blast that one to half forward. They actually had 2 or 3 numbers lower the eyes on the 45. A bit like that kick there. Just crucial to open the defence up and at least allow Oscar Allen to get a bit more distance back to goal.
And Warner with some space ahead to run and carry up towards Frederick. Marek almost infringed. Murphy Reid is there. The boundary line wins out.
Both teams would be reasonably happy at the moment. Pav, I know West Coast are 20 points down, but they're up for the fight, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we highlighted early, it was really in the Dockers' favour, but this second term, it's pretty even.
Bailey Williams front position. Jackson covered in the ruck to win it down. Baker on the boot. Blasting it up the wing again. Numbers favour Fremantle. Warner. And a poor kick. He was trying to go back to Brendan Cox, but he's turned it straight over to Archer Reid, and now they're scrambling in defence because they've got options everywhere, but always drops the mark too. Contagious out there as the kick goes wide, and Banfield trunched into by Hoff, and chopping of the arms free kick.
So it was a turnover from Warner, but what he and a number of the half-backs are doing well is outnumbering at the contest. So the ball goes in long to West Coast forward line, and they've been able to get back first and outnumber West Coast at the fall of the ball and then mop up, and that's what is making it really hard to keep it in their forward line.
That's like 15.01 metres for Ryan, and that's a much longer execution through the middle. Johnson, wide, bouncing ball, sharp. And to just tread water for a second and then find Johnson again.
He's been a bit better this last few minutes, Johnson. He's had a quiet afternoon though, but he and Sharp are 2 players. Freo could probably find a bit more of it, although this guy, Andy Brayshaw, as that one goes out on the full, Brayshaw and Strong are certainly doing the bulk of the work.
Those errors that we're seeing, the drop marks, the out of bounds on the full kicks, is that the pressure of the game and a bit of fatigue starting to get to half-time?
If I say sweat on the ball, Simo won't cop that.
No. Well, look,
coaches don't like that.
there's some players' strengths and weaknesses that we're seeing as well too. Some guys who can't handle the pressure just yet and are still working through these 2 young sides, what it actually means to play in a derby and hit the basics, the fundamentals. That's probably what we're trying to get out of this quarter.
It's a good kick by Duggan to find Jaden Hunt, and he goes a little dangerously, but gets Noah Long. Drive the ball up to half forward. Archer Reid cocks the spoil and finds the boundary.
Because they're so tall up forward, I think you're right, Pav. The half-backs for Fremantle, they're getting back first. So it's either a work rate issue or it's a personnel issue where it's a bit top-heavy, not traditionally known to be a high-forward team that comes back and puts pressure on when it gets back in their forward half. So something to work on.
Elijah Hewitt, the sub today for West Coast. James Aish, the sub for Fremantle, and for his first game of the season. He's made a couple of late changes before the game. Duggan's kick out wide now for Baker, looking to construct something. Jack Williams, Pearce scrambling, was on his knees but got back to recover. Oh, he's down there. And again, desperate in defence, the Dockers.
Great approach on the ball from both Owies and Cox. Desperation. Baker's kick, it was the right option, just couldn't quite take enough. You can see there, second quarter inside 50s. Not a lot in it. Really close. Second term West Coast getting back into this one.
It's 20 points the margin. Fremantle dominated the early part of this term. Draper down there. Brayshaw just got the handball away. Johnson spun. Kick clearly not 15. O'Driscoll to Chapman. Gets a bit of field position. Tracy was held. Prominently Eagles crowd in today, their home derby. I'm frustrated with that one.
What he does really well, Josh Tracy, he's a big man. He uses his backside. He almost gets in between he and his opponent between the ball really, really well. And wasn't a huge amount in that, but he does draw the free kick.
Out of the Matthew Pavlich playbook.
Yeah, if you've got a big butt, you better use it.
Ball at half back.
Moving on. Play on.
It's taken by Clark. Long high ball to half forward. Edwards. Big defensive mark. You mentioned it a few times.
It is, but the balance between a kill spoil and a mark is still working. I spoke about this a few weeks ago because a soft drop is really dangerous. Live and die by the sword.
It's a good mark, though, wasn't it, on that occasion?
Absolutely.
Owned it.
Edwards. Long. Kelly. to the front. Plays on. It was just knocked out of his hands by Banfield, then crunched in the tackle. Well done by Brayshaw. Banfield goes in. Could it be a critical turnover? Getting late on in this term. The Dockers still with numbers. Brayshaw's back up on his feet. Kelly was still recovering. Brayshaw goes in long. It's out the back for Tracy.
That's just brilliant from Andy Brayshaw. The repeat effort and the tackle. He was the first back to his feet after the huge tackle on Tim Kelly. Tim Kelly just couldn't go with him. You can see there he's tonguing it, but whether or not it's late in the quarter or rotation, but that's just elite midfield play from Andrew Brayshaw.
Kick will be after the siren at the half. He's had a big term. Has to go straight at it. Josh Tracy. There's a critical turnover on the wing, and Fremantle land a significant blow after the halftime siren. Josh Tracy kicks his third of the term, and the Dockers are up and about. Derby 60, and Fremantle extend their lead out to 26 points at the major change on the back of 3 goals in that quarter from Josh Tracy. Been an entertaining game so far. Eagles with a bit to ponder. At the major break, it's Freo by 26.
All right, folks, half-time here at the footy. Of course, the Dockers by 26 points now. They've extended their lead by 11 points. The Eagles could only put on 1 goal 3 in that second term. The Dockers, though, 3 goals 2. Nice job to the Dockers there. They're in full control of this game at the moment. Half-time here. Oh, we've got a few new people in. How you doing, Taddy? Welcome in, Taddy. Shalom. Of course, Lockie, how you doing? How you going? I have it pinned. Good stuff. You tip Fremantle. I tell you what, it looks like Fremantle could get the job done. Could get the job done today. Although you never know, the way Freo's let games go, anything's possible. This music hits hard. Or 3/4 time. What music? Oh, the music that they had. Yeah. Just going to the break. Yeah, that's why I shut the music off. I try not to play any of the music when it comes. Only that bit. That's the exit for them. So that's all we need to do. All right, let's go and have a little bit of a look. Of course, don't forget to stick your vote in who you think's going to win. So far, we've got 59% saying Fremantle Dockers are going to win. Just before I go any further, let's just round up this week's winners so far, round 3. Of course, Thursday night we had Essendon defeating Port Adelaide by a couple of goals. A good win there to the Bombers. The Western Bulldogs, well, too good, even though they were, well, a couple of their stars were out. They were too good for Carlton. Gold Coast had a thumping win over Melbourne at the MCG, 58-point winners. Can you believe it? St Kilda gave Richmond a bit of a touch-up, 82 points. And, of course, Hawthorn are going along nicely. They were 2-goal winners over GWS. And, of course, last night the other good game was Brisbane and Geelong. And, of course, Brisbane Lions, a home game for them. They got up over Geelong by 11 points. Today, of course, the other game that was on today, North Melbourne came out, gave it a good crack against Adelaide, over at Adelaide Oval, of course, but 36-point winners to Adelaide, just too good. And, of course, the Tex played another great game there for Adelaide. And, of course, the final round game of the round this week is the Derby, West Coast Eagles and the Dockers. And, of course, it is the Dockers. We'll give you the lineups of the matches next week, round 4. We've got some big matches coming up next week. Should be really interesting on a couple of those games. And, of course, next week, the Dockers will play at home. And, of course, they'll take on the Bulldogs, who are going really strong at the moment. That'll be interesting. And, of course, next week, the Eagles are playing the Giants in Engie Stadium in Sydney. That's going to be a tough one. Come on, the Cats. Lucky you're the Cats. Well, the Cats have got, they play Melbourne next week at GMHBA Stadium, and Melbourne got an absolute spanking there. So there we go. Yo, Teddy, Eddie G's back in the house. He'll be pretty happy with what Freo are doing at the moment. They're doing a good job. As I said, who knows with Fremantle, can they hang on? Can they hang on? Let's just have a quick look at the goal scorers so far. There we go. Josh Tracy tops the table with 3 there for Freo, doing well. Isaiah Dudley coming out of the gates, 2 in the first quarter. Nathan O'Driscoll, Matty Johnson, Jai Miss, single goal scorers there for Freo. And of course, Liam Ryan, Owies, Cripps and Brockman are the goal scorers there for the West Coast Eagles. We'll get back to the team stats in a moment. We'll just head back to the commentators and they'll give us a little bit of a wrap up on the opening half.
Forward half.
Well, they finally got a bit of territory, Kath, and we talked about it throughout that second term. That really, after about the first 5 minutes, it was West Coast and Freo. It was an arm wrestle after that first little dominance from the Dockers.
It was, and Fremantle went back to what they did well last year. They clearance dominance, get some field position, then they brought the pressure in again. So, I mean, the goals that Fremantle kicked were mainly from turnover, but the stoppage dominance and the field position from clearances was important.
How impressed have you been by Caleb Sarong and Andrew Brayshaw? You need your leaders to stand up in big games like derbies, and that they have.
Yeah, look, I asked this at the start of the game. I think their senior leaders need to stand up. That's a weakness over the last first 2 weeks, and they have. Sarong has done what he does. He's a leading possession getter on the ground. I really liked Andy Brayshaw's game. It's had a lot of tackling, which we know is a real strength of his game. He's had 2 holding the balls. He's leading from the front, and I don't think he's getting paid a lot of attention at stoppage, if I'm honest. But those 2 players asked for a lift, and they get it, and that's what they needed to start going well again.
Well, we know it's a Freo game when they're winning clearances and they're up by 4 at half-time, Pav.
Yeah, look, they're only up by 4 at this point, but we know for a fact over the last couple of years, Simo, and you've talked about this ad nauseum, really, about how important it is, because you can see 9-3 when they win the clearance battle by over 5, but then if it gets close, or at least they lose the clearance battle, then it's really the advantage to the opposition.
Yeah, it is, and that hasn't changed. This year they've lost clearance battle first 2 rounds, and this is the type of play they're looking for. A pretty skinny game that either West Coast defending well or Fremantle are happy to engage a down-the-line play, gets their pressure going, gets in field position, and it gives you some stoppages in front of the play. And from these clearances, they can really set up some forward half dominance.
So, Simon, let's hear about this, because Josh Tracy was on the wing. He's the one taking Harry Edwards back to goal really hard. But then you've got 2 defensive side here, Erasmus and O'Driscoll, with no cover from West Coast on the defensive side. O'Driscoll gets first use, and then Tracy's the one who was up on the wing.
Still lapse of concentration for West Coast, and we spoke about 2 young sides going at it, and a fail in the stoppage structure, dominance in the ruck, and 6 forwards ahead of the play, Scully. It's dangerous.
Well, it's hard to set up. That was a set-up goal, right? Harry was late to get onto his man. The stoppage setup was slow, and it'd make coaches angry. I used to get a few messages down to me for slow setups, but that's what that causes. The straight game, it puts sides under pressure when that's the case.
It's not a derby without a bit of biff. A few spot fires in that second quarter. However, we do have some vision we need to look at. Big told is Jack Graham on Caleb Sarong. Is there anything in this? It's pretty hard to tell from that angle.
Absolutely there is. There's plenty in that.
Nothing in that. That should have been play on.
I might line up Scully after what he said at quarter time to us before, but I'm sure they'll look at that one.
Well, maybe. I don't have my glasses on, so I didn't see it.
You're still a coach, aren't you?
Well,
You're still a coach.
And look, it's elevated a little bit. The second part of that quarter, there's some real physicality around the ball as much as off the ball. So it's been a pretty intense game, to be honest. The pressure's been right up around the 2s for most sides.
Hey, Simo, would you go and put someone to Sarong? It looked like Graham started going to him, but 17 disposal at half-time. He's the player that's making a difference. Would you put someone
I know there's a lot of people out there saying you could have done that last year, the year before, but you do look at it. Maybe start Harley in the middle and bring Graham on board to tag after that.
Well, straight after this game, we are heading to Bounce, Jace and the crew, as they always do on a Sunday evening on Fox Footy, provide a few laughs. Ruby's there, she'll keep the boys under control. And then, of course, it's over to First Crack. Jay Clark, David King and Lee Montagna with a full review of round 3. Maybe a few laughs as well.
All right, we're back. Let's head back to the stats and have a bit of a look. Holy, Shelty, welcome into the chat. Welcome in. All right, let's head back and have a look at that stats where we were. The disposal getters, that's what we wanted to have a little bit of a look up and a bit of a wrap up. Of course, the leading one out on the ground at the moment, Caleb Sarong, he's up there to 17 at the moment, up until half time. Two top contenders there. Of course, from Fremantle, Caleb Sarong was 17, 11 kicks, 6 handballs, 2 marks, 4 clearances. Andy Brayshaw looks like he's doing well out there with 15 touches, 7 kicks, 8 handballs, 5 tackles, 4 clearances, just to behind. Next best there is for the West Coast Eagles, of course, Ryan Marrick, Liam Baker, both on 13. Nathan O'Driscoll, 12. Bailey Banford on 12 there for for the Dockers. Jerry McGovern, he's not going too bad, is he, on 11? Tyler Dew on 11. As you would expect, Jerry McGovern down there, holding up the back line well. 7 marks down there. Let's just roll down there a little bit. Luke Jackson on 8. Jaden Hunt for the Eagles on 8 as well. Let's go and check where Harley Reid's got to. Tell you what, he's having a really quiet spell, isn't he, folks? If you follow the West Coast Eagles, I think you'd be pretty disappointed the way he's performing so far this year. His mind's not really been on the ball. It's been on the opposition players. He's just been quiet today. He's just had the 7 touches, 5 kicks, 2 handballs, 2 tackles. That is all for Harley Reid. All right, Harley, you need to fire up a little bit in this second half, or else West Coast have no chance. That's what I think. Liam Ryan, still just a 5 touches. He's kicked a goal. Isaiah Dudley, there we go. Doesn't like to handball, does he? 5 disposals, 5 kicks, but he has kicked 2 goals, which is fantastic, and of course 3 marks. There are your disposal getters. Let's have a quick look at the team stats now. There we go. It's the Dockers by 23 in disposal count overall, just a 7 in the kicks, 16 in the handballs. And Dockers just controlling it a little bit more this game. Even though it's a fast-paced game, it'll be interesting to see how this game does unfold. Well, you know what? I'm actually suspecting that Fremantle might open this game up and put a little bit more score on the board. Looking at the inside 50s now, West Coast not getting a great deal of it. 8 scoring shots for their 17 inside 50s, although efficiency inside 50s at 58.8 for the Eagles. For the Dockers, 34 inside 50s for 14 scoring shots, 44%, but the Dockers getting the job done. 65, well, that's pretty poor efficient total overall for the Eagles, whereas the Dockers, that's nice going. 76, that's pretty good, that's pretty high. If they can stay at that standard, they'll go well for the rest of the game. 8 free kicks each, nothing much to go on there. The umpires, reasonably quiet with the whistles, not favouring anyone. But what do you know? 2 per sides, you'd think it'd be pretty even, wouldn't you? They'd call it pretty even. They don't want to get the crowd offside too much, I wouldn't think. The hit-outs, the Dockers by 3, clearances by 4, centre clearances, well, the Dockers doing a better job there. 4 to 8. And, of course, stoppage clearances all tied up. Dockers getting first use out of the centre clearance 4 more times than the Eagles, and they're doing that nicely. Contested possessions, though, there we go. 13 ahead to the Dockers. Of course, just about in front on all aspects of this match. 13 uncontested, and even 2 more on the turnovers. Looking at the marks, the Eagles, well, they're grabbing the ball enough, 42 to 40. They're +2 there. Marks inside 50. So the Eagles are getting marks inside 50. They need to continue that. They're not getting many inside 50s. That's the problem. 17 up into half time. That's a small number on anyone's count. And of course, the Dockers, 8 marks inside 50. Very, very nice. Just about up on the season average already. And of course, the Eagles are on their season average, but they don't often get the marks inside 50. Contested, well, the Dockers a little bit stronger there in the air, 9 to 4. Let's head down to the tackle count, 18 to 22. Both teams tackling, well, let's just say there's not a great deal of tackling happening, is there today, folks? The Eagles, they're only, 30% on their way to their season average, and it's already halfway through the game. And, of course, Dockers under their season average. Tackles inside 50, though. West Coast a little bit better, of course. It's in the Dockers forward line a lot more. 4 to 2 there. And that's a little bit of a wrap up on. That's what we want. That's just a little bit of a wrap up of the first half. We're just waiting for the commentators to come back, and we'll take you back down to them. Let's see if I can listen. No, not quite on yet. So we'll be back in just a moment, folks.
Just through some pretty poor errors. I think that quarter was quite even. They dominated the territory in quarter one, but one of the big things in the game at the moment is the aerial game. They're just a bit stronger, so we've put some work into that at half time, and we need to compete harder in the air.
Is Caleb Sarong becoming a concern? What are you going to do with him second half?
Yeah, so we put Graham to him in the second quarter there, and I think we quieted him down a little bit, but he's a very good player, so he's going to be hard to stop, but we've got some plans around it.
So just stick with Graham and see how you go?
Yeah, we will at the moment, yeah.
Good luck.
All right, thanks.
Andrew McQualter there, the Eagles coach, Matthew Pavlich. The Eagles midfield, they're up against it so far in the game.
Yeah, they certainly are. You heard Jack Graham is going to get the job and continue that job in this second half. But Tim Kelly, 10 disposals. Harley Reid, 7 disposals. Baker's been pretty solid, but they do need some of their midfield guys to get to work because the likes of Caleb Sarong, Andy Brayshaw, they're plus 14 in the contest, Freo at half-time. Hasn't really gone through to absolute stoppage dominance, but this midfield of the Dockers is on top at the moment.
Tools as well, when the contested marks, like Minnie mentioned, they're -5 in the air, which, West Coast have gone in with the taller side, so their forwards probably need to step up a little bit.
Second half underway, Optus Stadium, Derby 60, West Coast, Fremantle, and out of the middle, Bailey Williams will help drive his team out of the centre. Baker's handball just missed Graham, but time enough to recover to the 50, drives it in low. Jack Williams couldn't ask for much better out of the middle.
Well, that makes a difference, doesn't it? If you get the midfield going, then you get your two forwards into the game.
Centre bounce plays like that, straight after the half-time. Coaches haven't even sat down yet, Pav, and to see that, I mean, that's the dream start from the centre bounce, and just a missed handball again from Baker, but enough space there to butter up, and Graham lowers his eyes.
Just what you were talking about, the West Coast midfielders needing to get to work and get it out of the centre. Important from Bailey Williams, and it's Jack Williams back into the side this week. He steers it through. Dream start to the second half for the Eagles.
Briefly spoke on the tools before. West Coast have got Jack into the side, along with Bailey Williams and Oscar Allen and Archer Reid. So for this to work, they need to take some marks and contested marks in their front half. The ground level players are there, but they've got one extra tall. So that type of delivery you love, but also the kick long to the top of the square, they've got to make a better contest. So really good start from West Coast.
You can just see there the forwards first to react because your midfield's out and you're licking your lips really in terms of the delivery. So great start for West Coast, exactly what we were asking for if you're an Eagles supporter at half-time.
A little surprising Jack Williams wasn't in the side the first couple of weeks. He showed some really promising signs last year. Ball back in the middle as Jackson wins it down. Sarong couldn't find a teammate with the handball. Bailey Williams, the bouncing footy. Inside 50, Pearce wrapped up well by Owies. Good tackling pressure from Matt Owies, part of his role in the team. Had the 8 tackles last week. Keeps the stoppage inside 50 for West Coast. Brayshaw got it from Jackson. High ball, Tracy and Ginby. Ginby after it. 3-on-2 favours West Coast, but Murphy Reid did pretty well. Graham in to help. Sarong clean down low and now releases Murphy Reid. Go to recover it. Feed it back. The players has lost a shoe in the process. Dewar will have to go back to find it. Duggan. Reid had 3 to beat there. He did so well to force the issue and just keep it in play. Ginby throws Sharp away with contempt and wins a free.
Yeah, sloppy play. Sharp had a couple of players out and turned that one over, and then a really good tackle from Ginby. It does look like that's been a change, so could be Ginby that's gone to Josh Tracy. Keep an eye on that one.
Long kick to a contest, but it falls in short. Ryan read it the best. And now he can just turn and send it in quickly because he wants Oscar Allen. Pearce locked up as it spills out the back, and Pearce gets it to the boundary line.
Great play by Pearce. I mean, he's had the wood on Oscar today, but this is the first play he actually looked out and out of position, and to butter up like that, really good play.
Just did enough not to give the free kick away there.
Just to harass
the
as
left
much
arm,
as possible. Going inside 50 for the Eagles. Jackson was straight down to the front. Harley Reid was trying to crash through. O'Driscoll way now to Sarong. Continues to rack up the disposals. High ball. Tracy best position. And he held firm.
There's the matchup. So I've changed that one. Ginby's gone to him.
Highest rated player on the ground, Josh Tracy. 3 goals in that second term. Murphy, Reid, and they go end to end. And they find Amos in the pocket. Voss on the lead. And they execute from one end to the other.
That's a D50 stoppage. So hard to believe sometimes. You think you've got ground position, you set up, you've got some territory, and then you slice the other way. It all comes from a stoppage in your D50. It's well executed from the Dockers, but I've said it a couple of times, this guy, this right here is his challenge, finishing up off the work.
7 goals, 11 last year in his 7 games. 1 goal, 3 for 4 today for Patrick Voss. 2 behinds already on his afternoon. And that one hooking right across the face won't register a score. In fact, it'll be a boundary throw in the opposite pocket.
You're right what you said about the forward 50 stoppage. That's normally an opportunity to either score or get a repeat entry with a surge kick. When you lose that contested mark down the line, that's when you get a
Games open up, doesn't it? Yeah.
You see a stoppage at the other end now for Fremantle inside their 50. This is where Jackson can go to work. Little give away. Bolton, a fumble. Wants Murphy Reid. Kept a cool head. That's a great kick under pressure. The free kick is earned by Amos. Just some great poise there by Murphy Reid.
Yeah, and that's what they talked about coming into the draft, how important his decision-making was. One thing to execute the skill well, but then Caleb Sarong stepping in. So get out of the way, we've got the ball, which is the right thing to do from your leader, but yeah, smart execution from Murphy Reid, because a lot of times players under that type of pressure just come from a stoppage to blaze away, but lower your eyes, find your forward.
Let's put it out into the path of Jai Amos. Can line them up in game number 50. That one's sliding across the face as well.
And keeping them in it at this point in time, Justin Longmuir making him feel a bit anxious, I'm sure, just these missed opportunities.
And a few more greys too, Lonnie. I don't know where he's coming from.
Does that just happen when you start coaching, Simo?
It creeps in. Catches up pretty quick.
Ball sent long down the line. Warner with a nice mark. Call to play on. Allen was aware of it. Trying to close in. Back now for Luke Ryan. And O'Driscoll.
Caleb Sarong in a bit of space. Baker tracking him. That's 20 disposals.
The line he goes. Amos best position. Big fist away by McGovern. Murphy Reid in there. Spills up Sarong. Clean again. Handball to release was great. To get to Brayshaw. Stab past Voss. They're executing well to this point, Fremantle. But it's the execution on the finish that they're still searching for. Voss is not going to have a shot from distance. He just loads it up to the square. Jackson! Reaching taller than them all. Right at the top of the square. They get the deep entry, and they had plenty of tall timber down there.
Just work right then from Bailey Williams. Great from Jackson to push hard forward. You know, early in the third quarter, Bailey was subbed out last week with cramp. So probably trying to expose his work rate as the next phase for Jackson. He'll get rewarded here. I'm not sure if Sarong is getting tagged looking at it, because for years it's pretty loose at the moment from Graham.
They get one from point blank range. Jackson pops it through, and the Dockers extend their lead back out again.
Well, still a bit of push and shove going on as they head back to the centre. Let's have a look at Caleb Sarong's handball to begin with, though, because he's having a field day out there. In tight. Bang. Out into space. And then Brayshaw to lower the eyes. Really smart ball use. He's turned a couple over today, but there's also hit a number on the lead as well. And so Luke Jackson, he's the ruckman. He's drifted forward and said to Bailey Williams, come and play centre half back with me. Couldn't go with him.
Quite often when you're in these ruck positions, you work with your ruckman during the week about how can you expose the fellow ruckers. It's probably the only one-on-one all day matchup you get, and if it's work rate, it's really hard to stop that if you're Bailey Williams. So he's going to get tested. That's maybe why they've got the 3 talls on the side to rotate through.
Sean Darcy back into main training this week at Fremantle, still a little while away. Closing in on a return, Luke Jackson with solo responsibilities in the ruck.
There is some hope, I think, that Sean Darcy and Hayden Young are both back playing some type of footy next week. So
Sarong again, good in and under. To Frederick, now to Chapman, who can straighten with a high ball inside 50. Amos there, McGovern, a bit of push and shove. Bradley was threatening, McGovern was good. Out to Jinby. Likes to run and carry. Lays it nicely off that left boot for Jack Williams. West Coast trying to get the ball moving now on the outer side. Kelly. Oh, he's working hard. Kelly waiting. Crowd urging him to go. He retreats back to Cole. Allows the Dockers defence to get back. Off. Slow, measured approach. Govan for Duggan. A lot of movement forward. Inside the 50, so Duggan just has to hit it in hope. Oscar Allen presents. Got his hands to it. Jack Williams, cleanly done to Kelly. Arms clear, tackled. Well done, Sarong. Having a huge influence on the game.
Yeah, so there's a midfielder working back hard, but they have bounced out of their back half pretty well all day, the Dockers.
And a great kick, it put Sharp under the pump. Now it's with Luke Ryan. Long ball down the line. Jinby did well to nudge Tracy underneath it, but a push was called. There wasn't a lot there, but he just nudged Tracy so much.
Great matchup, isn't it? Putting Ruben on the Tracy. Clearly got the size.
A kick, a poor one from Tracy. It allows the Eagles to counter-attack, and another poor kick. The turnover's costly both ways. And it's chipped up towards Frederick, who took the contact and took the mark.
It's great there, isn't he? Yeah, undervalued that play.
He's got some hops, hasn't he? Really extends well.
Searching for an option. He wants to go in deep. And it's Murphy Reid from the side, but a little undersized
Great
down there with their players.
Really good sport from Harry Edwards, and it's sometimes he goes for those marks and it's right on the goal line, but just to kill the footy, restart, that's clear instruction.
Simo, interested to hear your thoughts maybe after this kick in. But why wouldn't you tag Sarong? He's had 6 disposals and clearances to start this game after being the most influential of the first half.
I thought we heard McQuarrie at half-time say he was doing that with Graham halfway. The only thing I can think of, Sco, is you get to half-time and you go, let's start again. Let's reset from what we did at the start of the game.
Archer Reid rising. Driscoll tried to fin, in trouble, holding the ball.
That's good follow-up work. He almost took a really nice mark, and then we talked about it a fair bit. If you're playing so well, then you got to pressure and you got to get some turnover work.
28 points the margin. The Fremantle lead. As Duggan, it's too much of the kick now from McGovern and just trots very casually over. Didn't look in a hurry at all.
I think it may be an instruction at the moment just to control the ball a little bit. I mean, maybe they're not keeping up with the turbo pace of the game, but looks like at the moment West Coast aren't built for this open side.
McGovern's not happy. So surely they got a free kick given they got one high.
And he's driving with the head though.
Yeah, he's driving with the head. Just to highlight the lack of drive from West Coast in their back half. So only 2 of their 25 in their back half had ended up in a D50, whereas conversely it's been really strong from Freo today. Their back half game is on fire. We talked about that, didn't we? In the end of the second term, their halfbacks were really getting back and outnumbering well at the contest, and then pinging well from there.
McGovern off the ground now for a little bit of time as he gets patched up. Gets the applause from the Eagles crowd. Much more an experienced backline out there for the Eagles as they try to hold Fremantle here. Kelly after it. Driscoll, Graham with a good tackle.
Saw the scores from stoppages. Well, the Dockers are probably just on top, and that hasn't really hurt them, West Coast. It's 2 goals apiece from stoppage. It's been the turnover game today where Freo are on top.
Graham just the line kick out of defence. Knocked back in, Owies. Handball. Chapman just had the reach there opposed to Long. Warner to O'Driscoll. Always want to cut back on his left boot, and he sizzles a kick inside 50 to find Murphy Reid.
Become a bit of a problem, the front half game. I mean, West Coast have had 10 turnovers in their front half, and Fremantle have had 20. So it's sort of where the game lies with the turnover battle. Get it in there, repeat entries with good turnovers, a few skill errors from West Coast. Starting to convert now.
Such an impressive debut. Kicking goals for fun down there in Geelong. That one, he kicks into the player on the mark, so it's in a dangerous spot. And through for 8 behind. They're getting so many opportunities inside 50 Fremantle.
At what point, Simo, does it start to play on your mind as a coach that you've had all this dominance? They're plus 20 in inside 50s. You can see they're 13 marks inside 50 to 5, but just not actually executing in front of goal.
Archer Reid, Voss with strength, turned into trouble. Graham a good tackle. Long. Arms are free. Didn't make an attempt even though he didn't make any connection. That's why it's allowed to play. Brockman took the contact. That's a good mark, just to relieve some pressure.
The game's getting played the right way for Fremantle. You're not too, you want to capitalise, but it's not die straight. So you don't need to change what you're doing. It's more about your conversion in the front half. They've missed some easy shots today, let's be honest.
Akers kick, Dewar there, just into the action. Showed too much of it, and they didn't get it out of play. Allows the Dockers to go forward. Brayshaw's kick didn't help Bolton, who wanted it in short, and Hoff intercepts.
We haven't spoken about Hoff. Well, his job on Bolton today has been sensational.
Switch it up here now to Jimmy. 2 players out at half forward. Kick goes wider for Owies. Stabs it in short for Long. Knocked away by Warner. Off hands for Banfield. Now they've got options back the other way. Brayshaw's got Clark riding shotgun. He'll pin the ears back. And from 50, will let it launch and see it sail straight through the middle.
So big intent this quarter from West Coast to go around, to rather than kick it straight line, go to the contest, is to definitely kick it around Fremantle's defence. And so here's the kick. It's well set up to this point in time. And then they try to bite one off through the middle. Owies, well defended by Warner, right up his backside. And then Bailey Banfield makes a smart decision. He actually just holds the ball up and assesses what's there, brings it back through the corridor. And that's a great finish from outside 50.
What happens in the coach's box is you identify sides trying to control the ball with maybe going around pretty slow, send the message down, really put some work into covering those exits. West Coast haven't got the skill at the moment to execute a full ground transition, so when you get a turnover, the ground's huge and you get often scored against pretty easily.
Matt Fife watching on and building his way back through the Waffle pre-season. As in the middle of the ground for West Coast, right at breaking point now with a lead out to 34 points. They'll win the free kick here.
What McWalter wants now is they're still chasing their identity. It's very young in his coaching career. They won't deviate too much from what they've trained and what they're trying to do over the course of pre-season. Stick to their guns regardless of the scoreboard.
Graham romps on into the pocket. Jack Williams crunched in. Great roving from Kelly. But the finish not there. He read it perfectly.
He certainly did. He needs to get into the game. 2 disposals for this third term. It's been a bit of an issue across the last few seasons. Just not getting enough of the ball and supply inside their forward half, but they are hanging in there, capitalising on Fremantle, not actually taking the game away from the Eagles right now.
Warner from the back pocket. Contest up the line. Edwards almost able to mark. Murphy Reid. Great handball Long. He knew that he had Dudley going forward. He's got Bolton in short. The delivery is perfect. Again, the creativity from Murphy Reid just to get them going, Fremantle. Bolton searching. From 50 on the boundary. Lets it go. A few players asking the question at the top of the square, but it's only behind.
Really need some energy now, don't you, if you're West Coast? What can you do to change up the game a little bit? What can you inject? What do you change? You look at maybe bringing a sub on. You got Elijah Hood on the bench there. Look at one of the talls for West Coast. And if you're Fremantle, they're fine with this. Just let us consolidate this next 10 minutes. Try and sneak 1 or 2 more goals and completely shut out the game.
Jimby to half back. Allen's there. Warner with a good spoil to get across to help.
He's been good, Warner. He's been
good.
He's been in the right place a couple of times, but Oscar Allen's had a dirty day. 1 kick.
It's half a yard off.
Yeah.
Oscar. He looks like he's a little sore, which is no excuse when you come into a game, especially a derby, you're ready to go. First to put his hand up.
No marks, 1 kick. It's been a tough day for him. Haven't had a huge amount of supply, but
Fremantle, Nathan O'Driscoll.
He's the type of spark that you'd love to see get in there. Elijah Hewitt, you're right. Like to see him into the midfield, explode out of some stoppages and change it up in there.
Get Liam Ryan on ball early, quickly. Noah Long as well. Just something different.
Yep.
Tracy Jackson of Brayshaw. Top-ranked players on the ground. Bolton in there. Brayshaw away. Dudley off a step, threw it on the boot, but well across the face. And a great start, kicking a couple of goals in his first quarter of footy.
He's been lively. He's been a target. You can see him getting to the front of the contest a number of times.
Williams at the front. Voss on it down. After it, Duggan. Touched off the boot. So it'll have to go. Sharp stopped. And Ryan crunched in. Banfield pokes it up. Murphy reads there. Well done by Duggan to knock it down again. We'll get yet another stoppage inside 50 for Fremantle. Defence having to do a lot of work here for the Eagles. Williams, Cripps clearing ball. Out to half-back. O'Driscoll and Owies in the one-on-one. And O'Driscoll was happy with the boundary.
What are we doing to risk losing by a lot is what you think about.
Yeah.
Like, do you pull your forwards back, make the ground big, do something a bit more? I just don't know if that's where McCall was at with what he's trying to instill. So, you know, some hard yards need to be done. But if you're chasing the win, you might need to do something as radical as pull the ground apart.
Williams did well down to Kelly. And now Marek. Important contest in the middle of the ground. Luke Ryan.
Yeah, it's his front half game that we've talked about. So, talking about some tactics from West Coast in terms of trying to open the game up a little bit, but right now they can't get past halfway because Fremantle are so well set up behind the ball.
Yes. For Johnson. He can mark and play on. Drive the ball into a dangerous spot. Amos crunched. Bolton at the spill. Hoff played it well. Cripps out now to Harley Reid. Some space to move and feed the handball through it along. He gets some run generated with a high ball. He was hoping to get it to Ryan. Archer Reid, big contest. Ryan was out to meet it. Reid went back with courage. Ryan still down for Fremantle. Ryan for West Coast. Hooks it back in. Reid adds to the highlight reel and brings the crowd to life. We know he's capable of it. We haven't seen too much of it from him today, but a big mark there inside 50.
Yeah, elite skill on display there. I haven't seen enough of it today, but that is a great mark.
I think we're going to bypass the courage we saw beforehand, which, you know, on the tape on Monday morning, yeah, that mark's acknowledged, but you'll acknowledge the courageous acts by both those players.
Harley Reid. Plenty of headlines and comment around him for the first couple of rounds. Building into his work. Maybe that high mark will get him going. And he kicks a goal just to keep the Eagles in touch in this third term.
Well, we need more than that, don't we, if you're a West Coast supporter? Like I said, the collision beforehand, two players' eyes on the ball.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
I mean, that sets up Liam Ryan, who centres the ball, and Harley finishes off his good work. Just like to see Harley transition a little bit more across. Those marks are great and some fend-offs are great. He's never going to be a high-possession player. We shouldn't be expecting 30 possessions. But 18 good ones are what we're looking for. Not many can do that, by the way. That's pretty good.
That's a very good mark. A very good mark.
Take a hanger. See what I reckon.
Not like that. Anyone more aerial contest, I didn't think he'd Harley be the ones bring it. Still working out where he plays at the moment. He's forward.
Sure. Important 5.5 minutes here. Sarong got creative.
Sorry, he's back, I should say.
Yeah.
Reid there at halfback, shoved off it by Johnson. Bolton got the nudge from Duggan, who gave away a free kick, and the advantage taken by the Dockers up to Frederick.
Yeah, you're right. He has gone to half-back, so maybe they are starting to move the magnets around a little bit and see what he can do across there and bounce a little bit off the half-back line. We talked about that a lot. They haven't had any of that. They've been stuck in their D50.
Frederick. Outside 50, lets it fly. Good connection. He has absolutely flushed that. That's Frederick from range.
He's had a good day, Michael Frederick. He's chased, he's tackled, he's been very good in the air, almost as that sort of third or fourth tour. But this one comes from a stoppage. Caleb Sarong gets inventive. There's Harley Reid, the half-back. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. There's Duggan that gives the free kick away. And there wasn't much on here, so I like this from Michael Frederick to go back and say, you know what, I've got the distance in me. I'm going to have a ping here. And he absolutely flushed it, as you said, perhaps. Not enough players, I think, that have the distance, go back with authority and say, righto, good kick, I'm going to take it on and finish the work.
Really important part of Fremantle's forward line, isn't he? If they can get him kicking goals.
On the Fremantle side, they just play their roles. You don't need to flick the maggots around. You've got your system, and there's been some criticism on Justin and his coaching, but I think today's been a pretty good performance in the box.
34 points is the margin back out to again. East Coast were really needing a couple in a row there to try and put some scoreboard pressure on towards three-quarter time.
Talk about the coaching performance in the box. That happens between Monday and Sunday, doesn't it, really? I mean, you can do stuff in game, but a lot of the work comes from prep.
Absolutely. Especially if you've lost two in a row.
Good tackle, caused the spill. Pierce there, crashed into his teammate Draper. Baker on the burst outside of the boot, getting creative to the square. Archery!
Got a couple of good moments, hasn't he? Archery back with a flight, created that spectacular mark from Reid and goal, and just found himself in a really good position on his opponent, Cox, on that occasion.
It's brave earlier, going back with the flight, which caused the spill, which led to Harley Reid's goal. I mentioned it a bit earlier on in the game that he's had some opportunities searching for his first at this level, but from the top of the square, no problems at all, and Archery kicks his first goal in the AFL.
Spoke before about the tallest player on the list, but he's got one of the best footy brains, and that comes from the locker room. You sort of hear it during the week, and McGovern and these types mentioned how switched on he is as a footballer, which is great for offense, but also defense as well. Really good pressure out of the middle from West Coast, and when they bring that pressure, they're getting turnovers. Get the ball in the right hands, good forward craft, and finished off his work. It's a pretty good kicking goal as well.
It's not bad for being as tall as he is. The ability to get in behind your opponent, know exactly where the drop zone was going to be, and it highlights that clip there, the smarts you talk about.
Yeah, it's hard to develop that, the craft and the football smarts. You do scout for it in the draft, who's got a good footy brain, and that's what this kid's got.
He's on display right there.
Just his second season, will be recalled. You don't see too many 203-centimetre players playing footy early on in their careers at this level. Usually takes a few years to develop, but getting some opportunities in just his second year. Jackson in the middle, hit out, trying to unleash Bolton. Bailey Williams, Graham, Reid charging through, spilt away. Johnson, Sarong, Brayshaw. Again, the hands to create out of the middle. Brayshaw's kick goes to the deepest target. Tracy almost. McGovern was right there with him, just able to bring it to ground. Marrick's kick, a high one, went the wrong way, and he marks his own footy. Certainly not the 15. You don't see that happen too often.
You can't mark your own footy, can you?
Well, if it goes 15, can you?
Okay.
that one did.
That's a genuine question. Can you mark your own footy, Paz? It's one for the rule book. Simo? Yeah. You help us out?
Order fun back in. Jackson and Williams. Kelly almost fell in his lap. Jackson spun right around. Brayshaw out to Sharp. Now Sarong looks inboard to the hot spot. Banfield. Marrick's back there. Handball off out of defence. Bolton! Terrific rundown tackle. The chase and the pressure. His teammates love it. And he wins the free kick. And it'll bring a smile to his face because Hoff has been all over him today. And that's on the forward, wins one back.
Great chase, tackle. Pressure factor's been high all game. It was really hot early in this game when both teams were going at it. It's great to see from your new recruit, isn't it? So talk about the razzle-dazzle that he brings, the elite skill, but when he's doing that as well, that's important.
Great way to earn your trust of your teammates is to be a good defensive forward, and he hasn't had his hands on the ball really today. So to do that, kick the first goal for the club.
Richmond's leading goal kicker last year, two-time premiership player, big name recruit in the off-season, and the wait for his first for Freo will just have to continue as Hoff lets him know about it. One of the great battles within the game. Hoff's done a great lockdown job on a number of those dangerous forwards in recent seasons. Kick up the wing, Jackson. Marking prowess in the air, takes it, goes. Murphy Reid, delivery again.
He's a good kick, this kid. Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Luke Jackson firstly to body position and then play on. We talked about the forward half turnovers or intercepts for this game in general, but particularly this third quarter. The Dockers on top there, but get the ball in this young man's hands because he knows how to use it.
Just a couple of steps. Soft kick in towards Voss. Takes another mark inside 50. A few misses today. Pressure on the shoulders. We need to see it sail through the middle. Measured approach. Hit it better this time. It soars over the goal umpire. He's energised by it. Pat Voss. He's happy to see it sink its way straight through.
You see McGovern coming off the ground gingerly at the moment, but look, Jackson set that play up, and Bailey, unfortunately at the moment, I just can't go with it. Yeah. So what you do with an Archer Reid, as we see McGovern walking off, with these type of plays, it's okay to get outmarked, but to play on like that is hard for our West Coast defenders.
Dollar
and it looks like
McGovern's.
It looks like Gov's done something. Lower leg.
Achilles or something.
It looked pretty bad.
Finally gets reward for effort as McGovern heads off. We'll have a chat to Will Schofield and Kath down there to see what's happened, but he'd be pleased, Pat Voss, because he's worked his backside off all day, presented, he's competed, and finally gets reward for effort.
8 marks inside 50 in this third term. Fremantle really controlled the territory game, and out of the middle Jackson was good to Brayshaw. Again they can burst out of the centre. Long ball in, Amos there, Allen back helping out. We'll rush it through.
Yeah, boys.
Storyline there.
Oscar Allen has gone back. Harry Edwards has been subbed off the ground. Elijah Hewitt's out there, and then Jeremy McGovern's injured. So Oscar Allen might be a centre half back for the rest of the day.
So they pulled the trigger on the sub just before a McGovern injury. So now a deliberate call. Pressure mounting on the Eagles as Fremantle are trying to put the foot down.
Does he have another ping here, or does he try to set this one up?
We had a bit of a swagger after he kicked that last goal, so
Did he?
I think he'll probably go for it. Pushing camera time.
Pushing off the fence. Wanting the security guard to move a little bit more. Ross, confidence up after the last one. From 50, trying to work its way back. It'll drop in short. Williams could have been held. And the free kick will go his way.
It's a big challenge for West Coast, not just now, but if McGovern's out for a period of time, what do they do going? There's not a lot of backup with the defenders. You know, you sub out a key defender in Harry Edwards, probably through performance and structure. Oscar Allen cut his teeth as a defender. Maybe it's something they need to explore.
Issue behind the play. Voss, Clark with a clash of heads. The kick for the Eagles goes up to Brockman. Inside the last minute of this third term. West Coast had loved one late. Dewar, a high ball in, all Fremantle, but it spills out the back. Johnson trying to help. Jack Williams a strong tackle and a stoppage.
Pat Voss has taken 5 marks a game, high 5 marks inside 50. Highlighting his importance to this team. He just needs to work on that finishing work.
And Reid, Jackson the hit out. Sarong in and under again. Out to Brayshaw. Running around, racking up the footies. 28 disposals now, Sarong, to his name. Almost at three-quarter time. The kick goes long. O'Driscoll over the top of Dewar.
Now, Oscar's behind the play, but it could be just it's the last 2 minutes. They go into a bit of a scoreboard protection, and he's a half forward drifting behind the players as a +1. So I don't fully know. They'll have to go to it in the last quarter.
They move the magnets around to Brayshaw on the boot. Marek a good spoil. Voss went in, took the legs out. The umpire off the play spotted it. Voss is claiming he was pushed into it. Dangerous action in the end. Could have been nasty for Dewar.
Seen a fair few of this in controversy, haven't we? But that's a free kick. Well umpired.
Sent out wide. Off. That'll do it to three-quarter time. We have an arm wrestle in that third term. The Dockers dominating Derby 60. Kicked completely away, though, from West Coast as we turn for home. The margin extending from 26 to 36 in that quarter. And we've got a turn to play here at Optus Stadium. It's Fremantle by 36 points.
All right, three-quarter time, folks. The Dockers extending their lead. 3 goals won in that third term to the Eagles. 4 goals, 5 for the Dockers. They're doing it well, playing well. And, of course, we had a fantastic grab, a specky, as they say, from Harley Reid, who is an absolute cracking of a mark. And I'm sure that'll get replayed a fair bit over the coming week. But it looks like the Dockers might be going on to a nice win here. Of course, the poll says that too. 65% of everyone in the live chat has voted for Fremantle. Lockie, welcome back. Tine Bem, the manager, is in the house. Shouty. Tine. There we go. Where are we going? There we go. 12-11, 83 the Dockers, three-quarter time. Got a nice lead over the West Coast Eagles, 7-5, 47-5, 6 goals, 6 straight goals. There we go. It's going to be hard for West Coast Eagles to peg back this lead, but I think all they can do is, they can just fight this final quarter out, see what they can bring to the table, see if they can shut down the Dockers, see if they can run out this game nice, put a bit of form into play to roll into next week's game. Still all not lost for the Eagles yet. I think if they can do that and come home with a good quarter, they might be able to go into next week with a little bit of confidence. That's what we can hope for, I think, out of the Eagles today. But the Dockers, the Dockers themselves, they want to finish this game off strong. They want to change that, those thoughts that other clubs have, that the Dockers, will they stop in the last quarter? Well, which they have been too. So they want to put that thought to bed today, and they want to really put the Eagles to bed themselves and continue on with a good score, the Dockers. All right, let's have a quick look at the goal scorers and the disposal getters. Before we go any further, just the AFL fantasy points. If you play that game, there we go, the fantasy points. Andrew Brayshaw tops the table with 98. Ryan Maverick, 98, and Ryan Maverick, 88. There we go. Goal scorers. Well, Josh Tracy continues to lead the way with 3. Isaiah Dudley still on 2 after the first quarter. Paddy Voss, Nathan O'Driscoll, Matthew Johnson, Luke Jackson, Michael Frederick, Jordan Clark. Is that all? There's a few, my gosh. GIMS, all single goal scorers there for Fremantle. And, of course, Jack Williams, Lynn Ryan. Harley Reid snagged a goal in that third term. Archer Reid. Matty O's, Jamie Cripps and Tyler Brockman are the single goal scorers there for the West Coast Eagles. Let's have a quick look at the stats before we come back, because we're only moments away before the bounce of the ball for the final quarter here. The Western Australian Derby, West Coast taking on Fremantle. Caleb Strong continues to lead the way on 28 disposals. He's had 15 kicks, 13 handballs, 2 marks of tackle, 7 clearances. He's doing a good job there today. Of course, Andy Brayshaw having another great game there for the Dockers. 25 touches, 14 and 11. He's had 1 mark, 7 tackles, 6 clearances, and he's kicked that behind, so doing pretty well. Ryan Merrick, though, tops the table there for the West Coast Eagles. He's had 23, third best overall on the ground. 21 kicks. Well, he doesn't like handballing. 21 kicks, 2 handballs. 7 marks. Liam Baker, 17, not bad. The young fella there, the ex-Richmond player, I think. There we go. 17 for him. Murphy Reid on 16 as O'Driscoll. Jeremy McGovern come off the ground. They said he might have done an Achilles. We'll see what the reports are later on, I would imagine. In the third quarter, they'll probably have an update on that as we come back. But there are some of your stats for your players. Harley Reid, tell you what, he did one good thing, and that was that specky he took in the third quarter and he slotted a sausage roll. But instead, he still only had 10 touches for the game, 7 kicks, 3 handballs, 1 mark, 2 tackles. That's it. That's a pretty quiet game there for Harley Reid. There we go. We'll just roll down. There are your stats for your players. All right, we're going to get back down to the ground, and they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter. Of course, it's about a 6-goal lead to the Fremantle Doggers.
We are going to close this out and put this game to bed, or can the Eagles mount a little comeback?
Yeah, well, you got to remember West Coast is coming off that big trip to the Gabba, heavy humidity, and then they've got some injuries as well. So it's not all looking very good for West Coast. But on the other side, Fremantle have just been so good. The way they've, I guess, gone to what they do well and focused on that and brought that. Their senior players, their midfielders, that's what they've brought. Caleb Sarong, I asked for the game for him to stand up while he has, and West Coast have paid no attention to him basically. Jack Graham for half a quarter, but he's the number 1 ranked player on the ground, 28 disposals, 13 clearances, 7 clearances. He's been elite, and you know, he's going very, very well at the moment, Kath.
Well, for those who need a reminder, he's won the Ross Glendinning medal on 3 occasions. Could he be winning his 4th this afternoon? Are you surprised by West Coast tactically in how they've been letting him do his thing in that third quarter in particular?
It's not just West Coast, this is around the AFL. We don't see enough players tagged. I mean, we saw Sarong tagged the last 2 weeks and he doesn't impact. So, yes, I am surprised, but not surprised overall because some people just don't do it. West Coast have got a few issues though as well, Kath.
They do. So the West Coast Eagles have just confirmed to us it's a groin for Jeremy McGovern. Obviously, Harry Edwards was subbed out tactically. What are West Coast going to do down back now?
Oscar Allen's going to go to fullback, I think, as I look out here. Yep, he's going to match up on Voss with Jimby as tall, as well as Brady Hoff.
A quarter to go. Up to you, Adam Papalia.
Thank you, Kath. Yeah, looking at the both teams, Adam Simpson's going to look at West Coast. Matthew Pavlich is going to look at Fremantle, and Pav looking at the slingshot game.
Yeah.
Doctor's trying to go a bit faster.
Their forward half game has been really good all day, perhaps, but in that third quarter in particular, 4 of their 6 scores came from the back half, and it's not necessarily, Fremantle haven't necessarily been known for this, more of a stoppage clearance game, but today they've been on fire. You can see them linking up. And sometimes it is just getting the ball into your smart users' hands, your good users' hands. This one is one of their 4, as I said, that they created from their D50 transition. So just along the way, they didn't get much in the first half, but in that third quarter, they started to get it right on top. And there's your ruckman taking a big mark and kicking a goal. Here's another example of it. Bailey Bamford, really smart, turning back to your numbers where they were inside, and Jordan Clark runs from behind as a half-back and kicks a nice one from outside 50. Simo, what are you seeing from West Coast?
Yeah, look, they're just going to double down on what they've been training all pre-season. You know, take the scoreboard out of it a little bit. You've got Oscar Allen down back. Does Archer Reid go on the ruck a little bit? Leaders need to stand up. McWalter, his first crack at a derby, he's got some issues with personnel. Subbing out Harry Edwards right before McGovern gets injured is not ideal. That's no one's fault. That's just footy.
36 points the margin as we turn for home in Derby number 60. As the ball's bounced and favoured Jackson too clearly, so we'll get it recalled.
Boys, Harley Reid starting this quarter at centre half back, so they are moving the magnets at the moment.
Trying to find a way to plug some holes with personnel down, and Jackson delightful out of the middle to Sarong. Marek up to meet it has been one of West Coast's important players across half back. Leads their disposal count now with number 24. There's Hamble solid though, Jimmy into trouble. They'll have to go back and try and find it again. Up to Allen, round his body to half forward. There was 3 Eagles there, but 1 Docker in between them all is Luke Ryan.
Get to see how professional Fremantle are this quarter. Can they be mature enough to not only consolidate, but capitalise on a weaker West Coast side?
Hewitt did really well to win the footy there. And Cripps just worried out of it by too many Dockers. Clark, long handball, Brayshaw, and Jackson trying to work it out. Sarong again, so clean. The delivery perfect for Bolton. They've looked sharp today as the kick goes high and wide. They want Tracy, but Jewell gets back to help.
Yeah, poor execution from Bolton, but Caleb's wrong. How clean was he in the middle of the ground?
Track to potentially level Paul Hasleby with the 4 and Denning Allen medals. Reid stopped, will kick long. Wasn't many options, and Brennan Cox, Brayshaw, Bolton. Didn't know that Jack Williams was there, but he was good enough to slip the tackle. Feeds it over to Dudley. Short ball, Amos. Well done by Jinby. High tackle by Marrick on Johnson. And the free kick will go the Dockers' way, and the pressure is just going to be mounting and mounting here on the Eagles.
There's holes everywhere at the moment, and when you've got Oscar Allen hasn't done any work down back all year, and Harley Reid, we did a little bit of it when he first got to the club with the intention of just getting the ball in his hands. So maybe the instruction is just run past every stop play and try and get the ball. But when you've got two players in your back 50 that haven't played there all year, you can get really exposed by good crafty forwards.
And Matt Johnson's opportunity. Free kick for over the shoulder. Johnson, his 11th disposal of the day. Already kicked one. He stabbed at that one. It goes out to the right. Think of the shots that they've missed today, ones that haven't even registered a score as well. Particularly from set shots, haven't been able to finish their work.
Yeah, 8-8. And you're right, there's been a couple out in the full, a couple that haven't made the distance, so left a few out there.
Driscoll will win this back.
The other part of it is the mental demons is playing maybe for the captain, playing down back, and Harley Reid as well. It's can be a lonely place in footy field sometimes.
Well, he's the captain, so we need him. I keep saying when.
I'm with you.
They need him to stand up. I'm going to shake that. But when it's Fremantle Pab sitting next to me, I can't help it.
Another dollar in the jar for Simo as the kick goes out wide.
It's a carton, isn't it?
Let's get to that point. Clark with the footy. 37 points the margin. Up the line. And you go and find Frederick, who's played a good game. With jostling for position. Voss presents again.
And landed a little awkwardly there on the side, but he's been a target all day, Pat Voss. 5 marks we talked about in that third quarter, inside 50. He's only presenting and trying to put his hand up as that permanent second ruck and third key option alongside Amos and Tracy.
Jackson and Williams have battled all day. Jaden Hunt. Kick was just put off by the closing pressure of Caleb Sarong. So head of bounds on the full. It'll come back to Fremantle.
Really the difference in the game, 26 forward half turnovers to 12 is significant. They just haven't capitalised on these type of plays.
Sharps high ball. Jackson from the side. Down low, Bolton ran into trouble.
Spoke about back half transition and how important it is, but front half football still stands up in big games, and supply. That's still the number one priority.
Forward half intercepts clearly in favour of the Dockers. As Reid gets to work, able to clear it away. Baker missed Allen with the handball. He's going to go with a long kick. He had to play before he got rid of it. So he'll stay inside forward 50.
That's the bit would please Justin Longwood, because it's 2 weeks in a row now. They created 27 forward half intercepts against the Swans and didn't capitalise on that. It was the second most in a year of footy for the Dockers. So they've backed it up again under, as you said during the week, they're under a fair bit of heat.
Throw it in, Jackson down to the front. Here's Shea Bolton from the pocket, left foot kick. Amos in a wrestle.
I'll tell you what's great
that time.
On a Monday, and you're just talking about goal kicking because everything else is in good order. That's a good spot to be in. Doing a bit of goal kicking practice on captain's run versus addressing all the issues they've addressed in the last few weeks.
Really guarding Marrick so he can stroll his way outside the defensive 50. Good kick for Long. Back for Marrick. Seeing his ball use off half back is good to Jack Williams. Now they can generate some run. Jaden Hunt with a kick to the 50, but Jackson too tall again. A work rate to get back and help.
He's been great, hasn't he? Luke Jackson worked his absolute backside off both forward and back in terms of the way he's defended, but also really been a threat once the ball goes deep into attack.
Chapman out of defence. Jinby, little nudge there on Voss and sees it out of play.
An interesting matchup in the forward line. Harley Reid's trying to get to someone higher up the field, but Shea Bolton out the back there. He's the only player inside Fremantle's forward 50, and Harley Reid's going to go and defend him. There you go.
Matchup that is back there. Reid being forced to go back. And off the play, Brayshaw's gone down. Baker's got it for the Eagles from just inside the 50, let it go. And it bounces just on the boundary line. And will be a boundary throw-in. Brayshaw back to his feet.
Well, he's definitely sore. Shoulder. Had a big day, Andy Brayshaw. 27 disposals, 7 tackles, 9 contested possessions, 8 clearances, been important.
Jackson down, Banfield back there. Speed in the game's really slowed down in this first 5 minutes. Jackson working hard. Couldn't get clear. Sarong with 30 disposals, Brayshaw 27, Marek 27, the only Eagle over 20 disposals in the game. Here's Baker, little handball to himself, trying to craft something from the pocket. Ryan can control it nicely. Out into the back pocket, tough one here for Pearce. Brockman nudged him out of it. The Eagles had the numbers. Jaden Hunt off a step, hooking back to goal. Plenty of purchase. A point.
One of the things we've noticed with West Coast is that they're not a high possession side. I think with McGualter's style of play is not going to give you high value with possessions. Pretty direct, but Fremantle have done that better today with their
Frederick's out.
Pretty direct.
On the wing. This is where the Dockers can try that slingshot again. Out of fullback. They've got it to half forward for Murphy Reid. They're running on strong. Options are plenty. Inside 50, just trying to pick the right one. And again, the connection piece from Murphy Reid. The youngster, only a few games into his career, with the composure of a much more senior player. And all that is happening whilst Alex Pearce going from the ground.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. That doesn't look good. Perhaps a rolled ankle, but Harley Reid just exposed here in the back half. Hasn't done much training. That's the left knee by the looks. We'll keep a very close eye on that. That could be another storyline.
Just landed a bit awkwardly. Trying to gather that ball in the back pocket. Be significant. Jai Amos from this spot. If he misses, most likely to the right-hand side. He's hooking it away, but it straightens its way through. And he's found the goals today, Jai Amos.
Well, when you're playing on Harley Reid at full back and full forward, it's obviously Pearce there getting his knee checked. Hopefully it's all good to go. But Harley Reid, I'm sure they haven't told him to go down and play on fullback. No, to play as high as you can. Smart from Fremantle to find and isolate the spare. Really good kick here from Reid.
They're just patient, wasn't he?
Patient.
Didn't go so quick. You can play quick and just have a bit of composure, and that's what happened on that occasion. Here's Amos, Harley Reid playing fullback. That's the handover, doesn't go with him, and it's too easy.
Real concerns for Alex Pearce on the bench. Will Schofield.
Yeah, well, Jeremy Sharp's already been subbed, so the same as West Coast, they've made a sub and then an injury to a key position player straight after. Keep you updated on Alex Pearce, but James Aish has entered the game.
So vital for the Dockers, Alex Pearce. Fingers crossed that it's not too significant. Certainly some cause for concern. Out of the middle, the Dockers go. Erasmus reeled it in from the fingertips. Baker continues to work hard. Graham. Little sidestep around Brayshaw, just not sure where to go. Touches it on the ground. And just a desperate kick out of defence. Aish knocked it down. Fremantle's pressure. They keep the foot down. Amos in the air. Allen was involved. Bolton too. Amos goes back in. Reid has to lay a tackle. It spills out. And they flick the handball over the head. Sarong again clean to Frederick. They're lining up. Queuing up Fremantle as Banfield is wayward. In fact, out of bounds on the full.
McGualter, what does he do now? I mean, the message comes out. There's still 13 minutes to go. Some leadership's required, and if you're Justin, it's really drop the hammer. Don't get ahead of the play and wait for the ball. Keep playing your normal way.
Alex Pearce is just coming run past, boys. He's looking pretty good. Bit of side to side. I think he'll be back on the field shortly.
You think you just take absolutely no risk, regardless of the fact you've made your sub. Didn't look good at the time.
Just on the safety of the bench and go and get it checked out. Clark's kick. Well done by Hewitt to Long. Might open up here for the Eagles. Ryan over the top. Cripps. A connection. He's got Jaden Hunt running full tilt towards the goals. Off balance. Left foot snap. He's a good one.
That's a fantastic goal.
Terrific finish from Jaden Hunt on the fly.
Well, they've thrown Liam Ryan on ball the last couple of minutes. He gets the ball in the midfield, and we spoke about early in the game, when he gets the ball, things happen. Elijah Hewitt's first real touch of influence, and then Lamb sees his old mate out of the corner of his eye. This is a great finish. Opposite foot.
Yeah, flat out.
So-
That's a very nice finish across the area inside. We've seen the game riddled by errors by both teams at times. It's a nice finish, though.
This is important. It's important for West Coast as much as it is Fremantle.
Let's have a look at this injury again. Gets pushed off balance. Oh, that doesn't... There's definitely a hyperextension there of that left knee. Does not look good. Let's hope it's not significant for the skipper, because he is such an important player to this Fremantle lineup.
It's not looking too concerned down there on the boundary if we're trying to read the body language, but it could be such a significant one for the Dockers. As Johnson, the handball away, bouncing footy. Cole and Murphy Reid, clever tap.
Smart.
Again, smart, crafty to Dudley, and now Erasmus.
Yeah, two young players there. Very, very smart play between them. And three if you count Erasmus here, but the tap from Murphy Reid and then the skills as well from Dudley.
Sends it into the top of the square. Tracy presenting. Bolton off hands. Amos, they try to share it or rip it off each other. And now Jinby out of defence with some run and carry to half back. Jack Williams trying to take the mark and then kind of rolling on top of it. He's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, you've got to make some sort of attempt as soon as he was lying on it. It's going to be holding the ball. The umpire was right there.
Stand. Play on.
Get it away to Ryan. Into the pocket. The delivery is good. And Amos looking to cash in as the big pockets of space open up late in the game.
Sometimes as a forward, you don't get much of an opportunity. There's Alex Pearce. He is back out there, so that's a good sign for the Dockers, which looked pretty nasty on that left knee. We'll keep a close eye on that. But yeah, Amos getting a bit of space and great kick from Luke Ryan.
Good call by Will Schofield down there with all the injury info on the boundary.
Dr. Schofield.
Now it's Jai Amos. He'll have to go with the snap from the pocket. That's a brilliant finish from the angle. Multiple goals today for Jai Amos, who's enjoying Fremantle kicking away.
Talk about cashing in, Pav. Inside 50s, 28 to 58, which this hasn't been the first season where it's been an issue for West Coast. And the leadership at the moment, so the young players for Fremantle will get an opportunity now to really build some confidence like we just saw on the other side of the ground. Whereas, unfortunately for West Coast at the moment, not enough leaders are out there. And too much is left up to too few. So completely different contrasting situations for the younger players.
Yeah, important for Jai Amos to find a bit of form and get into some goal-kicking routines. Get into some goal-kicking form. Been solid the first 2 weeks. Well, it's not hitting the scoreboard. Josh Tracy, you can have a look at the score from turnovers from forward half. That's the style of game that Justin Longmuir would be loving. Lots of forward half turnovers and 11 shots at goal.
Jackson down for Johnson. Bolton. Clearance goes Freo's way. Kick inside 50. Allen down there, the key defender. Predicting that at the start of Derby number 60. Voss spills out. Kelly smothered by Erasmus. Allen to Duggan. Two skippers combine. Back there in defence. Bounce was a tough one for Aish. He goes back to try to fight it. Off. Able to headbutt the ball out of play and we'll get a boundary throw in.
Good opportunity for Bolton to get involved now. Last 10 minutes. He normally comes up to these stoppages, as you just see. He finds a way to get himself forward of the play pretty quickly. So
Jackson with the Falcon.
he's been good today, Jackson.
Good Falcon as well.
Right on the beak. Erasmus wrapped up in a big tackle. Spills out O'Driscoll. Johnson. Clearance work again. They extracted and worked forward. Shea Bolton with a run and a couple of bounces. Now a third. He wants that first goal for Freo. He's desperate for it. And then he couldn't find the footy. Mentioned it, Simo trying to cash in late. Couldn't do so there. And it's the Eagles on the counter. Hewitt long. Archery. Big mark. And Pearce with an awkward landing again, testing out that knee. Reed's maybe bumped his head as he's hit the turf. Also in a bit of trouble.
He's thrown himself into a couple of contests today, Archer Reed. It's brilliant work. Alex Pearce is saying, well, I don't need a scan on Monday because here's my scan right now. He's still going at it 100 miles an hour. That's a great mark.
Bailey.
Hard to assess the forwards of West Coast when you have under 30 inside 50s. You've got to make the most of every single play, and a lot of it's fast break, back of centre, long to a contest where you're not going to get the ground level plays you want.
Set shot from just inside 50. Goes away. Through the right-hand side. Will Schofield on the boundary.
Yeah, Archer Reed's one of these guys that's played in the waffle all last year. They rate him really highly. Clearly he'd like to make his most of his opportunities there, but he's one of these positional players that they want to put time into. West Coast, they've got a few out there today, but high hopes for him as well as Jack Williams. I like to see him out there as well. Every time he plays, we see him do good things.
Looking to the future for the Eagles with some of their young tools. As Frederick goes to the wing. Driscoll cut back through the middle. Nervous wait for Erasmus as Brockman was approaching. Did well to stand underneath it. Now Johnson chips the ball up. Good delivery. Voss yet another mark inside 50. Dockers racking up the contested marks inside the arc. Cramp sets in for Pat Voss as well, which is not what you want when you're going to have to go back and try and kick it from outside 50.
That's on your mind as well once you have cramped up. So maybe Driscoll looking around and get one around the back though, but he has been a real target up forward.
Do you like the camera time? Is it sort of false cramp just to get a bit more?
I'm not really familiar with Pat's work. I must
No, he's been good. I mean, and he just adds to that forward line presence that, you know, without McGovern down there, you can really see the breakdown.
Yeah.
Not only throughout the midfield, but now in the back line.
Presented well. Darcy looming on a return to hold his spot in the side. Needs to be able to finish his work. That one is going tight. Too bad off the boot, but no side there from Pat Voss after another miss.
Yeah, second week in a row, 1 goal, 3, but he has presented well. 6 marks inside 50. That's good work.
In towards Reed. Didn't quite get the sit he was hoping for. Pearce stabs it back in. It was over the head of Dudley. Out the back, Amos attacked it with pace. Erasmus, left foot kick. Dudley down low, took it, trying to shrug one. Brayshaw, he's joining in the action, and it's into the post.
14-15. They've left a lot out there today, the Dockers. 13 inside 50 to 4 in this final term. It's been all the Dockers.
Long ball through the centre. Ryan's spike away was good. Baker put his head over it as you'd expect from him. Kelly could have been taken high. In fact, holding the ball, the call, and quickly onto the advantage was O'Driscoll. Misses Amos with the kick.
Yeah, same type of work that we've seen, particularly after half-time, forward half intercepts. We've been really impressed with the Dockers' performance in this second half in particular. Let's have a look at the score involvement. Andy Brayshaw, he's had a huge day. Murphy Reed hasn't had a lot of the ball, but he's been important going forward.
Jackson knocked down. Here is Murphy Reed on cue. Outside of the boot, through the traffic. It was touched off the boot anyway. But we'll get a review.
He's a class act, this young kid, Murphy Reed.
A real letdown if this is actually a goal.
It's a great goal. He's had 19 touches, by the way, today. So
it's good. Please confirm.
So you're in the box. We'll listen to this first. Looks like it was touched.
Are we in the box or?
No, just getting it was touched. Thinking about the coaches right now, you're thinking about next week, and you probably were 5 or 6 minutes ago.
You're saying it said it was touched by the right hand of the West Coast.
So Fremantle got the Bulldogs next week, which is a massive game for both. Yeah, absolutely. And West Coast have got the Giants over there. So no doubt you're starting to make some decisions based on next week, and whether it's exposing different positions or resting players, definitely happening.
I've already exposed this guy on screen. He's spent a lot of the second half down back.
Use his skills to run away, showing the footy. That's what he can do up in the midfield. He's forced a bit further down the ground. Big contest on the wing. It spills the Eagles' way. Archer Reed to Jack Williams, and then Cripps always working hard.
Sort of the only way they can get through is the fast break footy, and that's Harley going down back was the original thought last year, to get bit more of the ball. If you look at Bailey Williams on the bench,
Another injury.
he just looks cooked to me. Maybe a bit of a knock to the head.
Thanks, guys.
As Cripps just pumps
Brayshaw.
his former teammate out of the way there, and Hamish Brayshaw is doing some radio work there, the former Eagle. Happy to go with the hard ball get. And then he just looks back over his shoulder after sending it through the goals from distance. And he's an elite kick from that sort of range. Adam Simpson, you mentioned it.
Spoke about it earlier, and who would have thought Hamish Brayshaw gets his head on camera? Still finds a way. Yeah, really good conversion. And we spoke about the fact that's sort of the only way West Coast can score at the moment is that full-length transition, which is unsustainable because the ball hits the deck and you just don't have the numbers. But he's a great finisher.
10 minutes, mate. Come on.
I think Hamish could have actually got out of his chair.
He moved for him. He moved. Just. Great finish. Been a great player for a long time. We've highlighted most of the afternoon. Still getting it done.
Oh, and Jess from Jamie Cripps. Hamish Brayshaw down there will enjoy the screen time, I imagine.
Scully.
Of course, the Sandover medalist in the waffle. Someone that Will Schofield knows well. How would he be enjoying that, Scully?
He would be loving every bit of it. I'm surprised he's not circling the crowd as we speak.
Out of the middle go Fremantle. Handball away, Luke Jackson. Brayshaw. He sort of fell into his back a touch, but it'll be a ball up.
The medal starts getting thought about as well at this point in time. Simo, who would you be voting for at this point? Who's been the couple of players that had a huge impact?
This guy here is probably the one. I mean, whoever's voting might be a reasonably easy job. It's been a pretty dominant performance.
Chapman caught holding the ball, so the Eagles can get it and go quickly here. Kelly out to Liam Ryan. Got some hard run again from Cripps. Ryan goes a little more direct, but he split the difference. And Brendan Cox takes the intercept. And a shocking kick out of defence, just dribbled off the boot in the end, but Sarong's there to mop it up and out to Chapman.
So just to be clear, is it Sarong then who you're voting for? There might be a couple others.
I'm not great at looking at individuals, to be honest, Pav. It's not a strength of mine, but looking at the numbers, I mean, he's had 34 possessions, 9 clearances, 16 contested possessions. I mean, he's done his job, hasn't he?
To a contest. Eagles have the numbers advantage. Cole, Kelly, got to get it over quickly to Cripps. He's got Liam Ryan running now from the pocket. Ryan stabs it across. Archer Reid almost. Great spoil by Chapman. Looked out of position, but recovered well.
Fremantle just a bit sloppy the last 4 or 5 minutes. Missed a lot of opportunities at goal, but one-step kick there from Luke Ryan. Haven't been connecting, and they want to finish this game strong because there's 0-2 to start today. Today's been a really strong performance, but they haven't quite just put an exclamation mark on the game.
Knocked away by Williams.
Who have you seen as the best player today, Pav?
I think Caleb has been enormous. Josh Chasey, I thought, in that first half when it was pretty tight, he kicked 3 goals in that second term. He's been important. Andy Brayshaw as well.
Brayshaw pushes it away. Now Tracy. Handball through Frederick. There's some run and carry. Good tackle from Cole. Forces the turnover. Graham Eagles. Kelly, Dewar back for Graham. Looks back inboard. And now Reid. And he's got some clear space ahead. And from about 60, he wants to launch it. And Archer Reid. And they combine.
Harley Reid and Caleb Sarong going at it. Harley Reid just went and gave him a big shove.
Did he?
So a bit off the ball. You spotted their Pavers.
Archer Reid needs to kick this pretty quickly before it gets turned over.
Archer Reid to take it.
The umpire was right there as well.
And a tough afternoon, but a glimpse into the future for West Coast. Archer Reid kicks another.
Well, they've been good the last 5 or 6 minutes. The last 5 or 6 minutes, they've had something to hang your hat on, but this incident here, I'm not quite sure if it's necessary. And this is the stuff that is discussed throughout the week.
I don't know why he does it. I really don't know why he does it.
Do that. I mean, Sarong took a dive as well. That's not necessary.
19-year-old, still learning the game, but he's got a lot to learn.
Well, you speak to Harley about this, and we have last year and this year, no doubt, and it's just going to take a while to break it. It's in him that's...
Is he not listening?
He's trying to listen, but competitive instinct, the eyes go into rage mode, and look, there'll be a time where it's just totally unacceptable. Right now, he's trying to get better, and I think for the most part today's been pretty good, but just, one or two things pop up that doesn't go his way, he can't help himself, so he's working on it.
Back in the middle we go. Andy Williams to the head out. Hewitt shoveled it up to Baker. Finishing pretty strongly here, the Eagles. Harley Reid again. Maybe it's just fired him up, got him into it as he gets it going from outside 50 again. Is that what gives him a bit of a spark, that other stuff to lick the out?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the good with the bad. You poke the bear, and that's what you bring. I think he's been a bully all his life at junior level. And when someone provokes him, you get the best out of him.
He wasn't provoking. He was the one that went and provoked.
Well, I think that's what he tries to do to get going, which can work against you.
So the Eagles winning the quarter. Fremantle, though, completely out here as Frederick goes long and Amos can take it and he will walk it. They go end to end, the Dockers.
That's the second goal from a kick in today. Freo really opening up in this last term. Both teams pretty fatigued. Hot day over here in Perth, 32 degrees. It's 4 for Jai Amos. He's really cashed in this last quarter. When you're tired, let's have a look. Harley Reid standing right there next to Michael Frederick and just let him go. All well and good to go and push and shove, but you've got to defend as well. That's the good and the bad right there. Actually, it's the bad and the bad. If you're going to go and provoke, you're going to go and defend.
Yeah, and that's the coaching piece is around that bit of play there. Now, he may come off the half-back line and have that shot, but not the transition in defence. That's the big thing we were working on last year, the transition piece, and he'll get that with fitness. The other stuff, that's something you've got to deal with, but that bit of play right there, that's the improvement that you need.
It's a great insight from Matthew Pavlich and Adam Simpson. And this Derby 60 is headed towards a close. Hewitt's given them a bit of a spark coming on as the sub. The kick goes wide. Ryan overran it. Graham was desperate. Cripps a knock on. Baker taken high. Margin 38. Dockers now winning the quarter by 2 points. Eagles undermanned have continued, though, to fight on in this final term. Baker wide to the pocket. Liam Ryan up. Cripps and the boundary.
Bailey.
15 inside 50s to 9 in this final term.
It just highlights the fact that they've been the dominant team all day. Freo just haven't really put the game away on the scoreboard.
All sent away. Mark taken by Cole. Here's Cole. Will send the ball long towards the top of the square. Jackson back helping. And his work rate today has been enormous.
He has been enormous. So we talked about Caleb Sarong being important, Andy Brayshaw and Josh Tracy. This guy also very much in the conversation for the medal. He's been huge. Luke Jackson.
Ball sent long by Jackson out towards Voss. In the air again, competing well. Erasmus. Johnson to ground. Hoff wins a free kick. He's played a good game.
This doesn't mean a lot for Fremantle, but it does for West Coast. It just shows there's a bit of spirit still there. There's a bit of fight.
They haven't fallen away in the final term. Dockers letting it by a couple of points in this last quarter. Banfield under the pump, back to Aish. A wobbly old kick and a down the field free kick. And then Brockman giving it away. Finds Johnson. I'll go through the middle. O'Driscoll.
What's the Harley Reid free kick count at the moment? We're not at 7, are we?
To check.
It's hard to defend it when he gets up to 7.
He equalled the record last week. This ball goes out wide. We tick our way down to the final siren.
End zone.
The ball's going to go in to the pocket. Frederick has had an important impact inside 50 today.
He has been really important. He's been a player who's worked defensively well for the Dockers, but offensively as well. And he's just licking his lips because he's got someone who doesn't play defence that well in this last quarter, in Harley Reid.
A tough couple of weeks to start the season for the Fremantle Dockers. Some of the supporters potentially contemplating a severance procedure after the first couple of rounds if it was available. But they've got their season back on track. Frederick wants to finish it, continues the themes of the set shots. Rather flattening way to finish Derby number 60. But the Dockers did what they needed to do. They break through for their first win of 2025. A 38-point win in Derby 60.
Pretty all-round performance, except for their ability to finish inside 450. Fremantle 65 inside 50s and 31 shots to goal. And Cutter's down there with a man who had a big say in the contest.
He certainly did. Caleb Sarong alongside me. Caleb, a Derby victory is always sweet, but even more sweeter being your first win of the season.
It is. Felt like last week we got the game played on our terms for a big part of it. And obviously the last quarter didn't go the way we wanted, but felt like that was our footy, and the challenge this week was to play it for longer. We felt like we were able to do that today.
Did you feel far off the past fortnight, or you felt like you could turn it around pretty quickly as a team?
Round one was poor, was very poor. We acknowledge that. We didn't look like us out there, and we can say that, and we've trained a different way all pre-season. We've got to come out here and show it. And last week felt like we took some steps forward with that, but today I felt like our pressure was up to a level that we really wanted to be at. We're able to turn the ball over in some dangerous areas and go back the other way.
What do you think JL would be most pleased with?
Always team defence. He loves his team defence. But no, I felt like we're able to lock in our front half for large portions of that game, and that's what gave us repeat looks. Like when you got guys like JT and Jai down there, you give them enough looks, they're going to clunk a few, and we're going to kick a score. So I think that's what he'd be most pleased with.
Can we talk about Isaiah Dudley's performance and his debut, particularly the first quarter? He was involved in everything.
He got us going early. He's got a lot of tricks. He's come in, moved away from his family. He's just thrown himself into everything within our program. It's a credit to him. His family, he had a massive crew coming over today from South Australia. So it's a special day for him and his family, and I'm just happy we get the win for him.
And your own game, you were superb. Obviously had the James Jordan battle last week. Was it nicer not having as much close attention today?
Yeah, it's every week there's something different, and it throws up different challenges. And as an individual, you want to embrace those and work through them. Last week was a tough one, but it would have been a lot easier if we had got the win, and a lot easier to cop. But I've been going to work over the last couple of weeks. Mental side of the game, it's felt like today I felt like myself again. So it's good to get it back out there and play my role for the team.
What were you expecting from West Coast in terms of individually during the week? What were you thinking they might throw at you, or who they might throw at you?
Andy and I were chatting during the week. It's always something kind of different. They throw some curveballs. Obviously, new program, new coaches this year, so we didn't really know what to expect. But we knew they were going to bring a lot of physical pressure. They've been really tough in the contest the last few weeks. We felt that today. They're bringing a lot of numbers into that space, and we just knew even if there was a tag or not a tag, it was going to be a tough day and a really physical day. So we're ready for it.
There was that Derby biff happening. What happened there late on with Harley Reid?
It's a little bit of talk either way, but what stays in the field, what happens on the field stays in the field.
It looked like it came a bit out of the blue, though, did it? Or no, there was a bit of a lead up to that?
No, it was just out of the blue. That's right. It's always good fun. He's a competitor. I'm a competitor. It's always something that happens, so it's good fun.
Good luck with the Bulldogs next week. Enjoy this with the boys.
Thanks, Kath. Appreciate it.
Well, that's it from us here at Optus Stadium. Back to Fox Footy. It's time for Bounce with Jason Dunstall.
Thank you, Kath. Great job by you and the entire team over at Optus Stadium as the Dockers get their first win of the season in Western Derby number 60. So the footy is...
All right, folks, there we go. That is game, set, match. The Dockers, victors. 38 points. What on the Dockers? Well, Fremantle they didn't lose that quarter by too much. So it wasn't too bad. Harley Reid getting a little bit agitated, of course, as I was saying. Now, final term, just concentrate on the footy, Harley, and your game will excel. Whew, what a game. Well, they did it. They did it. 3 goals, 3 in that final term for the West Coast Eagles. Of course, Fremantle Dockers. 3-5. They won by 2 points that final term. There we go. Fremantle victors in the last game of the round. Round 3 here. AFLW football action. The Derby. The Dockers get another one. There we go. There you go. A lot of happy Dockers fans out there. Of course, Eddie Jean in live chat. He'll be absolutely wrapped with the Dockers win today. Look, commiserations, the Eagles. They've got a fair bit of work to do. I think their game definitely wasn't up to par on what we've seen them been able to do. That being said, the Dockers were pretty good today. And they pretty much did it for the 4 quarters. They're probably lucky they played Fremantle. They played West Coast, though. That being said, but Fremantle will go into next week's game with a lot of confidence. As I said, next week, Fremantle are playing at home. Once again, Fremantle are taking on the Western Bulldogs. That's going to be a lot tougher assignment. Let me tell you that. Bulldogs, they're flying at the moment. Of course, the West Coast Eagles, they will be taking on the GWS Giants next Sunday at 1:10 p.m. Melbourne time up there in Egging Stadium in Sydney. And of course, Fremantle's game is next Sunday. It does say 5:10 p.m. There we go. Melbourne time, that is, for the Perth game over there. Let's just quickly head on over and have a look at the goal scorers. We'll finish that up for all the folks. Following that, if they had a little bit of a wager on how many goals they would kick, Xiaomi Mi ended topping the table with 4 goals won. Not bad after for his 7 kicks. Josh Tracy, 3 straight goals off his 6 kicks. And Isaac Dudley, 2 goals off his 9 kicks, kicking those 2 goals in the opening quarter. Paddy Voss, O'Driscoll, Matthew Johnston, Luke Jackson, Michael Frederick, Jordan Clark, all single goal scorers there for the Fremantle Dockers. And of course, for the West Coast Eagles, a couple of multiple goal scorers, which were Archer Reed and Jamie Cripps, both with 2. And of course, Jack Williams, Liam Ryan, Harley Reid, Matty Owies and Jaden Hunt, with Tyler Brockman, single goal scorers. Disposal count, well, there was only one player that topped the 30 disposal count, and that was Caleb Sarong from the Dockers. He ended up with 35 disposals, 18 kicks, 17 handballs, 2 marks, a tackle, 10 clearances. Holy Toledo, that's a pretty good game. Andy Brayshaw, not a bad effort from him as well, with 29, just one shy of the 30. Another great game from him. Ryan Marrick, best on the field disposal-wise for the West Coast Eagles. He had 28 disposals, 24 kicks and 4 handballs. He had 8 marks, so did pretty well. Liam Baker on 23. All right, let's just quickly roll down the board. Check out your player. Bailey Banfield, 18 there for the Dockers. Luke Ryan, 16. Matty Johnson, 16, both for the Dockers. Harley Reid, well, he picked up a little bit in that final term. Ended up with 15 disposals, 11 kicks, 4 handballs, 3 marks, 3 tackles, a clearance, and 1 goal, 1. And he took a fantastic specky in that third quarter. It was a ripper, and I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that mark over the coming week. And if you watch the bounce, you might even get to see it on the bounce or on the couch. That's where you might see it. That's your disposal count. Let me just reload that up. I just want to double check that is correct. And of course, there we go. 52 disposals the Dockers had in front. 24 kicks and about 28 more handballs. Inside 50s, the Dockers had an absolute ton. 65 inside 50s. The season average just 51. Of course, West Coast sliding a bit there, just with a 37, or nearly double, was the Dockers on the inside 50 count. Wowee. Disposal efficiency, although 68% for the Eagles, still a little bit low. Dockers did pretty good, 75 and a piece. The hitouts, the Dockers clearly won that by 9, as the clearances, 15. Centre clearances by 7, just dominating the clearances and the hitouts. And just all over the board. Even the uncontested possessions, it was about 43 up there, and 15 contested possessions. Turnovers pretty even, 64-67. And the flag mantle right on target on their season average there. And of course, West Coast only 2 above there. Marks are 79-89, not a great deal of difference. Inside 50 marks, 10-21. That's pretty high for both teams. It was a nice and open game. There we go. That's like 21 marks inside 50. That is huge. The season's average is only 10. Contested marks, both contesting well in the air. The tackles, though, the West Coast Eagles, the one thing they did win pretty much is the tackle count. 46-39 tackles inside 50, 10 apiece. But that was another good game there today. The game is over, Mohammed. How you going, Mohammed? Simo Football, how you doing? Thanks, Taddy, Tina, and everyone else, Eddie G, for coming on in. That is the game. The game just ended, and of course, the Fremantle Dockers going out 38-point winners here. 15-16, 106, defeating the West Coast Eagles. 10-8, 68 in the derby over there in Perth. But another good game. Dockers fans going home happy. The West Coast Eagles fans going home thinking, what can they do? But I think some of their players, they just need to get their head right out on ground. I might come to them a little bit more. They definitely need the mullet man back out down there forward for them. Give them a nice target down there. All right, folks, that's about all I've got for everyone this evening. I did go over the poll, didn't I? Where is that poll? The poll was there. The poll was there. Now I can't find the poll. I think it was 70% anyway. I think the poll was 70% voting for, there we go. Who wins? The Fremantle Dockers. Yeah, it was 69. 70% went for the Fremantle Dockers, so well done. Everyone here in the live chat. Listening to the broadcast here today of this game, we picked right. And of course, 30% went for the West Coast Eagles. That's all right. Got to have a few Dockers, got to have a few Eagles fans in there. Along with the Freo, and of course a lot more footy lovers in there as well. Just having a bit of a I think who's going to win that game today. But it was a pretty good game. Dockers, you should be happy. As I said, folks, next week's round, we're going to kick that off next Thursday evening, 7:30 p.m. Melbourne time. This is going to be, I'm tipping this is going to be a sellout crowd. This is going to be an absolute ring-a-ding-ding game. That's right. A ring-a-ding-ding game. This is Thursday night football. Collingwood taking on Carlton. The old rivals, Collingwood-Carlton, the MCG. Collingwood 149 favourite. Going in against Carlton 264. 6th versus 15th. Ladder positions never really make much difference with these two sides. It's going to be nearly a sellout crowd. I'm tipping there's going to be 85,000+ here at this game. It's going to be fantastic. That's a game you don't want to miss if you're a footy lover. Well, to most people, they're either sides you love or hate. You take the pick. Of course, that was Thursday night footy. Friday night football, though, coming up next week. You got the Geelong Cats taking on Melbourne. GMHBA Stadium is that venue, 7:40 p.m. Melbourne time. 9th taking on 16th. And, of course, we jump over to Saturday then. We've got the Gold Coast Suns taking on the Adelaide Crows. Both teams in fine form. Of course, both teams having a win on the weekend. 182 favourite of the Gold Coast Suns at home. Winning a couple away this season. They're on a flyer. Of course, Adelaide Crows, they are on a flyer as well. So that's going to be a really, really interesting game. Of course, 4:15 on Saturday. You probably got one of the biggest favourites of the round. Of course, that's where Richmond Tigers take on the Brisbane Lions at the MCG. The Lions going into that game, 108 favourite v Richmond, $8 to take out that game. I think this should be a pretty a one-act affair and a big margin on Brisbane's way. And I think they're going to continue their strong form into the season early on. Certainly a big difference to the start of their season from last year. It should be an absolute cracker. Of course, that evening, Saturday evening, North Melbourne taking on the Sydney Swans at Marvel Stadium. That's 7:35 p.m. Should be another fantastic game. North Melbourne gave a little bit of a yelp today, just couldn't quite get the job done. Sydney are in a little bit of disarray. Is that the right word? A bit of disarray? Something like that anyway. Both teams needing a win next Saturday night. And of course, Sunday, we've got 3 matches on, and it all kicks off at 1:10 p.m. there at Engie Stadium, where the GWS Giants are playing the West Coast Eagles. That could be, you know what, the GWS Giants, they're going to go into this game and go, this is easy picking, boys. This is easy pickings. It's a matter of turning up. We're going to get the 4 points. Never underestimate the underdog. You just never know. It could come back to bite you. Of course, the game following that on Sunday, 3:20 p.m. That's on over there at Adelaide Oval. And, of course, you got Port Adelaide taking on St Kilda. Well, Port Adelaide, they're struggling this year, aren't they? Where St Kilda's going all right. I'd expect St Kilda to win that. Of course, 12th versus 7th. St Kilda on road for another victory. It could be. And, of course, the final game of the round, again, is the Fremantle Dockers. They're having a home game at Optus Stadium in Perth. The Fremantle Dockers, who we saw have a nice win tonight over the West Coast Eagles. They're taking on, well, let's just say, a tougher opponent. Of course, that's the Western Bulldogs. 5:10 p.m. Melbourne time if you want to tune in. Fremantle versus Western Bulldogs over there at Optus Stadium in Perth next Sunday. That is all the games for round 4 next week. And, of course, the two teams that do have the bye next week are, of course, Hawthorn and Essendon. The two teams having a bye. There we go. Whew. All right, folks. I think that's about all I've got for you on this coverage. Thanks, everyone, for coming in. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. Don't forget, if you like the coverage, give it a thumbs up. If you like any other of my content on the videos, on the vlogs, get over there and watch some of them. If you like a bit of Australia, Melbourne, Thailand, Philippines, head on over, watch some of the videos over there as well as the football coverage. That'll be much appreciated. But, yeah, look, folks, until next time, well, until at least next Thursday evening, when we come back to football action. Round 4, Thursday night, 7:30, Collingwood taking on Carlton. That's when we'll see you next time. Ciao for now, folks. We'll see you then.